And we're live. How are you doing, Terrence Bunga? You're my guest.
I am Nick.
Yep. And we're talking about My Hero Academia Season 3 and Season 4. By the way, you want to generally why it took so long? Well, because we were busy acting with some other stuff. Example, like DC Fandom. Which that happened actually yesterday. I was busy trying to watch that, and yeah, that was 8 hours.
I did watch I watched two of the trailers from it. I watched Justice League 1, which that looked interesting, and the Batman one.
Yeah.
Batman looks interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious what Rob Harris is going to do with the character, especially after that trailer. I mean, if you notice, up until the last scene, he doesn't speak at all.
Yeah, he didn't.
And his first line is, "I am vengeance."
Awesome.
What? Okay. It's a cool line, and he has a bit of the raspy voice.
Yep.
Which I guess that for some people it's not surprising he would do that because that was something Christian Bale popularized when he was Batman, so why not?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, since we're talking about My Hero Academia.
Yep.
Yeah, and also I've been busy doing my own stuff, my own channel, so that's the reason why.
Yeah, same as well. I tell you, but I did the fan yesterday. I did some other videos. Yeah, but we were busy. Sorry it took so long. But anyways, oh wait, one we also want to cover the movie. It was the first movie as well because I got Season 3, kind of.
Okay. Yeah. And in case you are going to be asking, like, when we're going to do the videos of the movies, we're going to say it for part 3 of this.
Yeah, we're going to do part 3.
Yeah. All right. Now, this season adapted technically 3 story arcs, but also adapted partially 1 that continued to season 4. The first story arc we'll talk about is the Forest Training arc. Yep. It takes episodes 39 to 45, adapting chapters 70 to 83.
Yep. We actually involved the cross one end to go to the forest to train more about the abilities. We got a very cool story.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, that piece did not last long because if we get going, they find them, and it's actually very dark.
Yeah, and they also hit on something toward the end of this that it's still continuing this very day of possible traitor at UA. That plot thread, in case you're wondering, Tivia, that's not been resolved in the manga. That's still ongoing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this arc is the introduction to a handful of characters. All of whom are still in the manga to this very day. The one of whom there's something tragic happened to them. I'm not going to happen to them. It's with Thrice, the Deadpool ripoff.
Mm-hmm.
There's him. There's Toga, the woman who's obsessed. She's basically very crazy, and she's got a thing for everybody.
Yeah, she's kind of a fangirl.
Yeah, there's also Dabi, a character who, believe it or not, there's actually a really popular fan theory he might be Shudo's brother.
Yeah, Shudo. Which, honestly, I can kind of see it, but I don't see the resemblance. They don't really look alike at all. But even though they both fire powers, it doesn't really connect because, well, it's my ice power, so I don't see that resemblance at all.
Yeah, they also, if you notice, that he's got like part of his face burnt. They don't really explain that here. They don't explain that until the villain arc, which is probably gonna be adapted for. I don't know if it's season 5 or season 6. I'm not sure which one that was gonna be, but it's gonna be interesting when they adapt that arc. When they're probably gonna rename it to My Villain Academia, right?
Wait, what? Oh wait, I get it. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, there's also a debut of Mr. Compress, a character who is still around. He's perfectly fine. Let's see. There's also the character Warp technically showed up in the USJ arc, but you see him here. But Todoroki is actually not here in this arc. Well, he's not at the camp per se, but he's actually at the start of the arc where he threatens Deku at a mall, which shopping episode of a mall. That's something you don't really see much in anime these days. That's a rarity.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And even though he
Actually,
was threatening.
it went to Ruga. I think he had to Shigaraki.
Yeah, which they have real more. They kind of reveal partially his backstory in the next arc, but they don't really explore him until villain arc.
Yeah. Besides, I'm not waiting for villain arc, so I have no content in that. But Thomas Shigaraki, it's fucking insane and like all for one is particularly the points, but we'll get to that later. But okay, when did art start in John?
The guy's got a mentality of a child. That's according to All Might when he first met him.
Yep.
So they're pretty much at this camp, mainly because it's I think they say it was like an extra course that they're required to take at this camp, and they're there with Class 1B. They don't show their teacher in this arc. They actually don't show their teacher until I think it's the joint training.
Mm-hmm.
But they do have a teacher. I don't remember who the teacher is for Class 1B. But they're an interesting group of characters.
Yep.
And Austin Tyndall voices one of them. He voices the character Phantom Thief.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the characters from Class 1B. Oh, there's one other character makes his debut here. It's the guy who looks like a lizard. I don't remember his name, but I referred to him in my reviews as the Saint Hero Killer fan.
Oh. Yeah. No. He had the part of League of Villains. He had the spinner.
Yeah. I keep forgetting the guy's name, but I was referred because I know that he is a big fan of Saint Hero Killer. Well, so is Toga.
Yeah, and they're fucking nuts.
Yeah. They say they're part of. They say this group of League of Villains is a sort of a branch of theirs. I think they say it's kind of like the First Brigade. I think it is.
They're the Vanguard of League of Villains, basically.
Yeah, but they do become regular members of the group in the next arc, and they're here to do one thing and one thing only. Like this is mentioned by the character Muscle, which he doesn't return after this arc. This arc is his only appearance in the series. He mentions, "Oh yeah, we're here to kidnap Bakudo."
Yep.
Which all that is set up for the very next arc. I don't raid.
Which we'll get to that at the later. But this story also gave out to another debut of new hero, the Wild Pussycats.
Oh yes,
that's the name, right?
They do show up in the very next arc, and they actually show up toward the end of season 4.
Yep. Which we'll get to that later.
Since the Hideout raid. And oh boy, we will talk about how crazy that arc is.
Yeah, we'll get to that after we'll get to that later. But back on track. Besides about particular, we ought to get into a little boy named Toga, I think. Yeah, Toga.
Yeah, the crazy girl, blonde hair, dresses like she's a sailor.
Yeah, like freaking nuts. But besides her, we ought to get into Wild put together. I think cousin, or nephew. Go my memory.
I'll be right back to you.
Okay. Excuse us, folks. We don't have to do it anymore.
I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, I just had to quickly use the bathroom.
Okay.
All right, we were still talking about the force
Yeah,
training.
training arc. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing we should mention that they get there via bus, like any air person would.
Yep.
This bus basically has got like special recliner seats.
Yeah.
Where they also have like a special like tray. I'm thinking it was one of the hit characters had to sit on the edge because one of them had to lie down on two seats.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't get up. And it was Shudo basically had to sit on the outside. He was okay with it. Everyone else is like, dude, sit up and let him sit there, please.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there's actually a light novel that does explore like a little bit what happens before the villain shows up. It's in the third light novel. I think it's like I have it right here. Mm-hmm. It is this one.
Nice.
Yeah, this one is the one that explains like it basically kind of explores what they were up to prior to the villain showing up.
Mm-hmm. Which we kind of have to get in these episodes, right? In this arc, because we do get to see all the Cos 1A and Cos B train, and we also get to see we're hide and seek to try to find them, kind of hide and seek, kind of, mm-hmm. Sort of. But as I said, that was kind of crashing down because the villain does show up, and like I said, there's some casualties.
Yeah. And Deku does something that he was threatened by a doctor in a later story that he shouldn't do this. He only could do this a couple more times, but he decided to go 1,000,000% to defeat muscle.
Yeah, it was awesome. A bad moment.
Yeah, which probably gave Deku the idea that maybe he should make special gloves so he wouldn't break his hands every time.
Mm-hmm.
Which smart idea. He does take up that advice later when he do the hero license exam.
Mm-hmm. Which we'll get to that later. But back on track. Okay. Like I said before, this arc, in my opinion, not deaths. No one dies, thank God. But some of the other series they do have to get hurt. But one bad mod do over there at is this metal guy. Like he had to go against this gas map kid, and it's actually pretty bad and awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, we see in this arc that Toga's got an obsession with Otaku, Froppy, and Deku.
Yeah.
She's obsessed with him. Like at one point, she actually gets on top of Otaku. It's like, what's that smell? Oh, you're in love.
Yep.
I'm like, okay. Which this gets explored a little bit later in, I think it's Hero License Exam, because it's been hinted at the whole series that Deku and Otaku have got a thing for each other. And they kind of are a couple in the current arc, but they don't really show how they became a couple. I mean, Deku, it's implied since they first met that he's had a thing for her. Otaku, I'm not sure when in the world she developed attraction to him, but it's a relationship I think any My Hero Academia fan can actually say, yeah, this relationship is perfectly fine.
Yep, with our support.
The only other couple that's been hinted at in the series is Shudo and Momo.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah, they're frequently seen together, and fans have kind of shipped them together. To me, it's not really a big problem because they both come from very wealthy backgrounds, even though she's taller than he is.
Yeah.
Momo is like, despite the fact she's a beautiful woman, she's also really tall. I think she's like the tallest girl in the whole class.
Yeah.
I think she's even taller than Jenny.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of them, Jenny and Johnny or Class 1A and Class 1B, one thing I learned about this order, we get to see more Class 1B at the Class 1A. It's actually pretty bad and awesome and pretty cool. Mm-hmm. One girl in there, I have a giant hand, kind of come out Ms. Marvel. Actually, it's pretty bad, and actually they hopefully beat like the gas mask kid.
Mm-hmm. There's also a girl with vine hair.
Yeah, vine hair. She had to appear in scene 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's okay to have Class 1B here. And I like the fact that when Deku explains what's going on to Eraserhead, he's like, okay, call out everybody. Go wild and beat everybody up.
Yep.
Which they do.
Yep.
It's mostly Class 1A getting all of the action. Class 1B, they don't do much for anything except get knocked unconscious.
Not all of them get knocked unconscious. Some of them actually do help, as I said. But
yeah, and they also have a character who's got the same power as Red Riot.
Yep. That the Steel Kid. I forget his name. It's hard to get on his name because there's so many characters, and I do love all of them, but hard to keep track of all of them.
Yeah. And they pretty much only, like, they do beat up the villains, but they only capture one, Muscle. And everyone else gets away with Bakuto, which Deku tried to chase after him. Oh, there's one thing that big happens in this arc. What's his name? Todoroki, the one who has the Dark Shadow.
Yeah, Todoroki. Oh yeah, the Dark Shadow is crazy.
Yeah, because I think it's because of the gas.
Yeah,
that made him crazy. Yeah, which I'm like, okay. And
wasn't because of that. Wasn't because of poison. It was actually because of her acting his friend.
Yeah. And of course, when the Goons showed up, when they were doing sort of a Halloween-esque thing where who can be scared the most, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was.
And the thing with Toga is that she can take blood samples, people. And he'll explore it a little later, but she actually takes samples, and she can basically become the people she consumes. Though it's also later revealed she can also assume their powers as well.
God, Mystique.
Yeah. Though we'll get to her role in the hero license exam and what they changed for her in that. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
Yeah. This was a good start for the season. And it's mostly just there, like, if you look at the ending of the story, it's mostly there to set up Hideout Raid and the hero license exam, and also have something with the dorms, because they mentioned at the last episode of the arc, they were going to start setting up dorms.
Also set up a commentating with at their time of an old foe for All Might, which we'll get to him later, if that actually made an implication soon to that series.
Yeah. All Might doesn't really do anything this arc. I think he shows at the start of the arc, but I don't think he does anything.
Yeah,
this is probably one arc he shows up in where one of those few times shows up and he doesn't do much or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yep, and then we get to are you ready to talk about Hideout Raid?
Mm-hmm. Actually, before we get to that, I do want to go back to the guy that said there's a little boy there lost his parents, and the way
we first met Deku, he punched him in the balls.
Yeah, that was funny.
Which he did later apologize for that in an episode that pretty much ended the 4th season. So at least they apologized for that. And also, thank you for saving his life from Muscle. He doesn't have a letter later.
Mm-hmm. With that,
which they bring up at the just before they start the hero exam, they bring up that very letter, which gave basically the whole thing with Dormitar, which we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. All right. All right. Video game also.
When the members get their powers stolen.
Captured by the League villains.
Yeah, by one. A big role in a very in Hideout Raid.
Which we'll get to that in a minute. After the voyage, we get to the hospital, and Deku, not Bobby, Bobby got captured. Remember here. Deku, Ingenium, some two are doing at the way.
Momo. Shudo also participated in this as well.
Yep.
And I think that's it.
Yeah, that's about it. Right? They try to find basically no. Well, they don't find the no. They try to find basically the event category, but they already didn't make my tracker. The tracker that Momo put on one and the no boost.
Yeah, and the reason why that now they mention this because they bring up what happened in Hero Killer arc, where even though that they're students, they can't legally engage villains because they don't have a license yet.
Yeah.
But that doesn't stop them going to rescue Bakugo.
Yep, they're fun.
Which I think it's perfectly fine as long as they're not really seen very much. They're seen by one person doing any kind of action. That's All Might, but that's it. He's the only one who sees anything. And then we get to where the hideout raid, where they're based out of. It's like, oh, let's have the League of Villains based out of a bar.
Yep.
Owned by
Mr. Genius plan.
Yeah, I'm like, well, as far as I can think of, this is maybe, I don't know, the writer's nod to the bar with no name from Marvel Comics.
That did make sense to think about it because the guy, the writer who wrote, like I say, she's fan Marvel, and I think he's been DC as well.
Yeah, and this is probably the one arc that, oh boy, that the fight between when they showed the fight between All Might and All for One, they pretty much level like what was it, about 3 blocks.
Which we'll get to that in a minute because before we get to that, Jonathan, I do want to talk about the attempt to escape, and well, that plan actually failed because I have to. All the heroes they do come to the bar, no name. I know it's more relevant, but still me. And we see all the pro heroes kick them at. It's actually pretty awesome. Headshot.
For this arc, they bring like every single pro hero who showed up at this point. Hawks is not here. He's not in this arc. He didn't show up till later.
Yeah, that's in the movie.
They bring back Mount Lady. They bring back her. She's not been seen since the pilot episode. They bring back pretty much everybody, including I think the only person that's participating in this hack is I think Eraserhead. I think he's like the only one who does not participate in this hideout raid.
No, I think he got injured.
Yeah, he got injured in the previous arc, so I think he's like the only one who's actually absent because like everybody gets a chance to participate. And
All Might, Headshot, we've got a Ninja Kiddo. Gran Torino, I mentioned it before. And Mount Lady, you mentioned.
Yeah,
I think.
This is the first of 2 times in the series where you actually have the police and the heroes team up to take down villain. We don't see this again until the internship arc. But it's a great thing to see. It's almost like that the series is kind of gathering their own version of the Justice League or the Avengers.
Yeah, and unlike Marvel, who turn back the hero, the police out there smart, they care about the hero. Gee, why can't Marvel do that same thing with their hero? Oh, I know why. Because Marvel says they're hypocrites. And so the cops.
And I tend to wonder, though, like, why can't Marvel or DC do this where the heroes work with the police to take down a villain? And I don't know if it's due to ego. I mean, Spider-Man would happily work with the police if they're not trying to arrest him.
Yeah, Daredevil is that same thing. Daredevil do Kingpin with Spidey.
So I think the only time you kind of see this is in Batman.
Yep. Well, and Superman,
Yeah. Of course, Wonder Woman works with the military, so that's normal. But an actual group of heroes.
Wait.
I'm kind of like, why can't Marvel just borrow an idea from My Hero? I mean, My Hero borrows a lot of stuff from American comic books. But the whole thing
stuff.
Yeah, but the whole thing of the heroes working closely with like local law enforcement, that's something I think for DC and Marvel is like so foreign to them.
Yeah, because Marvel tried to do a Civil War, and that blew up in their face.
The only hero team I can think of in Marvel who has no problem working with police is the Fantastic Four.
True, the Fantastic Four are the public heroes. X-Men, well, they do racism and all that nonsense, and
the Avengers, from what I can tell, they kind of do, but not to the extent what they do with My Hero.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and I think that's about it. As all with others, so it would compare more with DC, but we'll be able to talk about that. But back on track. Okay. After the point invaded the bar, at the Shigaraki, after the master, earned the power of the hell man, all for one, use a trump gun, and you tell within the part to tell all the villains, even Bago, to the other hideouts. Where Deku is, and we find out where all for one is.
He's tied to a chair.
Yep.
And he's asked frequently, like, join us. And he's like, screw you. I have no desire to join you. Join a group of people who try to kidnap me. That's his perspective. I think that's what a lot of fans think are basically they're probably their analogy of that scene, like, screw you, you kidnapped me. I'm not joining you.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah. Though I have read a fanfic where there's an ultimate scene. I'm not going to discuss it here. It's something that's like, it's fanfic. I'm not going to discuss it here.
Gotcha.
It's very adult.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. And when the heroes, of course, they also, while Deku's group are looking for Bakudo and heroes looking for him too, they come across a Nemu factory.
Yeah, with that Nemu factory is actually the tracker that that Momo put. With this Chicago is there. He
went. I think what the Nemu is, they're not fully explored until much later, like who made them, because it's a mystery. But the whole series, like who made Nemu, what were they before they became Nemu? Because it's kind of implied these were kind of they used to be humans, regular humans that were kind of stitched together to become these monstrosities.
Kind of funny monster.
Yeah, and this is technically the first time it showed up since the USJ.
Yes.
Which is kind of interesting. Of course, after this arc, they disappear for quite some time until they show up toward the end of season 4.
Which we'll get to that later. But oh boy, what's the thing that we're going to talk about? The beginning of All For One, not beginning of All For One, more like the revelation of All For One, and his debut.
Yeah, and he's voiced awesomely by John Sweeney, which anybody can tell he is having so much fun with this character.
Yeah, you haven't activated the Emperor video in Star Wars.
Yeah, though I know this is one of 2 characters I've heard voice where he seems like he's having a lot of fun with them. The other character is Crocodile from One Piece, which I think he did before he did this character, and it's a similar performance, but not a carbon copy of it.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I don't watch One Piece, so I have no comment.
Yeah, I watch One Piece. I'm doing a rewatch of it. I'm just on. I just finished up the crew separation stuff, the first portion of it, and next I'll be on to Impel Down.
Nice. Yeah, back.
A while back in the series. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, and how Deku basically avoids being because they're basically the faces are public knowledge because of what happened in the UA Sports Festival. That kind of is the reason why the League of Villains kidnapped Bakugo because of that event. So take disguises, and I think it was Jenny was like, wait, you can make these clothes yourself, and then they're like, oh, you just want an excuse because you wanted to buy stuff because you're rich.
Well, indeed, it's hilarious.
I thought it was kind of funny, and plus, I love the acting that Deku puts on, where he's acts like a freaking gangster.
Yeah, an A gangster basically, white voice. I forget.
Yeah, I think the only one who does, I think, is Momo. Momo does sound like an '80s gangster.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they all wear like pretty much like gangster-like clothes. We have Deku wearing freaking sunglasses.
Yeah,
And,
it was.
yeah, and I think like in James still wears his regular glasses, doesn't he?
I think so. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, Shudo, he has to wear sunglasses because of how his face is,
Yeah.
which his mother did that to him.
Yeah, which we've already seen too. But to be fair, I'm not hurt. Okay, doing this is wrong, but his father Endeavor is a complete scumbag and infuriating.
And speaking of Endeavor, I don't think he does anything this whole arc, does he? Because I remember him showing up in this
No,
arc.
actually, he just show. He just show up in there. He just show when he over one at the attack. But the
Yeah, but he doesn't do much of anything in this arc at
true.
all. I mean, you still have Patrick Schultz voicing him, but it doesn't seem like he comes in his own with this character because when he first started voicing the character back in season 2, it's like, okay, and then slowly start getting a little bit better voicing the character. I mean, I'd say probably the big stuff with them is toward the end of season 4.
Which we'll get to that later. That was a huge fight. I did not expect that, and it was awesome. But we'll get to that later. But okay,
that's what he has at the end of season 4. It's very similar to this one, but not like big epic scale as this fight.
Yeah. But let's get to All For One. Okay, when All For One debuted, that was a huge surprise because I did not expect to see him at the end of the season. I assumed you should the end of My Hero Academia. I was wrong. You should have in at the I think I don't know. I think what episode you're on the show everybody from part 1 of this.
Probably because they've been teasing him since season 1. So why not? I mean, we've been seeing him. We haven't seen his face, and there's a good reason for that. Because it's implied that All Might messed up his face. It's never stated, but All Might is the one messed up his face.
And that's his body.
I get the fact he can breathe, but where are his eyes?
That's what I wonder.
Because the series has never delved into that, and All Might hates him for very good reason. He killed his mentor.
Yep.
Which they actually mentioned her in the joint training stuff. It's like, of course, Decker pointed out though that when she got a chance to see her, it's like she was very pretty, and he's like, yeah, she was. She was smoking hot.
Well,
suppose All Might didn't fall for her because of how beautiful she was.
Yeah. Which we finally found out that All Might, which quick is kind of Deku. Really awesome revelation.
They never show exactly how All For One killed her. It's implied. Now, there's actually OVA that comes before I think it's the first film that came out like toward the end of this season, where they kind of imply like this is how that All For One killed her, but it's never actually shown of how he kills her. It's a quick 5-minute short that sets up the hero the Two Heroes movie.
Huh. That's and what it would be.
Some kind of like giant creature that All For One had, but it's a mystery. It's something that's never been delved into. Like, how in the world did All For One kill her? Because that's still a mystery that's never been solved. Also, another mystery's never been solved, Devia. Who Deku's father is.
Oh yeah, I did hear some theory that All For One, but I go bullshit. No, that makes no sense. Bullshit. Because that big control out my joint. What? Like, there is no one else would do that.
There was a possible theory of why he's still around. I've read that he's a singer and he's out on tour, but why would he miss his son's whole life?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's the theory I've heard of what his father's up to, but they never say who his father is or what he looks like. But you can clearly see that Deku looks almost exactly like his mother.
Yep.
And we'll talk about these characters' parents when we talk about when we get to the dormitories, which they actually show at the end of this arc.
near the end. I think near the end of part one of season three, because they split I think this season into two parts, kind of sort of. Not on for me, but on the Blu-ray themselves.
Yeah,
Which,
they did that for
why they did that?
because it's a long season, 26 episodes.
Oh
But
yeah.
all the time, they do this for One Piece as well, and they did for Dragon Ball Super, where they pretty much took the 131 episode series and they basically broke it up into about 10-volume series. I own the whole thing, so that's how I know that.
Gee, that expensive. I didn't know why I spent all that money to go 10 volumes.
Yeah, but it's well worth getting all 10 volumes. I own all 10 volumes. I'm trying to work on getting all the volumes for One Piece and Fairy Tail.
And
One
Fairy
Piece,
Tail and Fun are super long.
yeah, One Piece is not as long as that One Piece. Fairy Tail is not as long as One Piece is. Fairy Tail is 328 episodes. One Piece is 330. I think it's 334. I think it is. Not 300.
Plus the movies as well. Yeah.
It's 334. It's still going right now. They aired a new episode yesterday for One Piece.
Ah.
Yeah, I'll be getting my review of that later after this review.
Gotcha. Well, anyway, I'm back on track. Okay, let's hit the All For One. Okay, All For One. Then when you hear the music, it's super creepy. Like the music might be actually food ever get.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
And there were a lot of people comparing him to Vader.
It doesn't have a thing. Like that, I kind of Darth Vader vibe, but I can't think more with the Emperor because Vader was on probably All For One kind of in the shadows.
Now, I mean, they think of him like Vader because how creepy he is, and his mask is similar to Vader's. Not exactly carbon copy, but it's very similar, and it's of purpose to Vader. And plus, he's a well-dressed villain. You notice that?
Yep, I did notice that.
And oh boy, the brawl between him and All Might is very big and caused a lot of collateral damage.
And brutal. I mean, All For One psychologically like basically hurts All Might, and he manipulated him. But
he had like no energy left to fight him. He basically his quirk was pretty much like all gone. Like he had very little left. So he used the last of it to beat him. But the rest was all on Deku.
Yeah, because he gave the power to Deku. Wait, All For One figured out just like that, right? Izuku Midoriya, he's the child you get the power to. Which oh shit. If he knows that I'm me and Jonathan, he knows about Deku, and that means fuck that girl in so many countries. Speaking of All For One, John, I completely forgot about this. Think on remind me. All For One also really a teleport video Tomo Shigaraki and the rest of the other crew at their way because he really may lose, but he had a backup plan. So but he would take Tomo not off the board, but more somebody at the safe. And
my guess is the reason why the writer did that because he's probably still had plans for those characters. And as for All For One, I think the reason why I show him at this point, and this is just my theory, Tibia, because it was not a good time. They're at his base, so why not show him?
Yep, I'm out there for that. And that's a good payoff because All For One is very creepy, very dark.
Apparently, All For One wiped the floor with characters like I get Mount Lady because she's a rookie, but people like Best Genius. Which here's the strange thing that happened to him. His injuries that he got in this arc, it's later revealed that he suffered he had one of his lungs removed after this arc. He lost a lung.
What? I actually died when that happened.
Yeah. Some people can survive with only one lung, but he lost a lung because of this arc. One lung. And then after this arc, if you notice though, he doesn't return after this.
No, he
There's
didn't.
a reason why he doesn't return. There's a rumor and story that Hawks killed him in order to gain the loyalty of the villain army.
What? Holy shit! Wait, that didn't end with the Hawk in for the second movie.
No, it's not there. It's actually part of the recent stuff.
Oh. I
Yeah.
seriously read the
I
manga.
was the revamp best genius. It's implied he killed him, but in actuality, he faked his death. He just disappeared in public view, and that's the reason why he hasn't really showed up in the manga for quite some time. And he was number 3, but I think he still is number 3 right now because they have the hero rating in next season.
Yeah,
But
season 4.
and then as soon as All Might basically lost the fight, we see in Dev Brackett's home basically punching a wall. He's like, "Yeah, I'm the number 1, and I don't like how I got this way."
Mm-hmm.
And then when they reveal later, when they show up, like when he becomes official number 1, everyone's like I know they do it's like so dramatic, and even you could tell to be like, it was so obvious who number 1 was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Endeavor, which we'll get into that later. But okay, back to the fight, all for one, and oh man, okay. This fight was built up ever since season 1, and this was a great epic build up, and the hype meter was so high that I was super invested in the two-part episode, and I'm glad it paid out because holy shit, this fight was awesome and freaking insane. Also,
because I was bench watching this. Now I watched the entire previous arc all dubbed. This arc, I watched dub up until toward the very end because for some reason Funimation had a slight delay with the dub, so I had to watch the rest of the season sub. I wasn't particularly too happy with it, but I did later on rewatch the rest of it dubbed.
Same. I wanted all of it dubbed. I waited until the final episode of season 4 to get dubbed. I'm glad I did because dubbed meaning. But back to this fight. As I said, this fight was epic, and Deku and the rest of the not the kind of grenade, but rest of them, they say Bago with that made me happy because their plan actually worked.
Unlike Force Training, where that was 6 episodes, this arc was only 5 episodes.
Yep.
And it covered chapters. I have notes up here. Chapters 84 to 97. 14 chapters in 5 episodes. Well, if you're going to chance reading that manga trivia, compare it to this, it's not surprising that they would have this many chapters covered in just 5 episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And at the end of this arc, we show off the dorms.
Yeah, but we'll get to that later. But like I said, I do want to finish this fight because this fight between All For One and All Might is amazing, and as I said, the animation is perfection. The story is the voice at the end is it, and All For One is a freaking monster. Like he's insane. It powers or ability combining a lot of quirks he stole, which that's interesting, and he stole but he wanted a wild pretty guy that he powers, which that opens someone may probably about that. And
in case you're wondering, the person who got power stolen, she still hasn't gone back yet.
Yeah, because seeing 4 the expense she didn't get powered up, but what the stupid camera.
Yeah, I guess your camera turned off for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Yeah. I'll deal with that later.
Yeah. And when they rescue Bakudo, it's like, of course, the bar had been pretty much leveled by All Might.
Yeah.
He leveled the bar, and like they rescued Bakudo in the most ingenious way possible. Even though that All Might saw them, like they have just Deku, Ingenium, and Shudo launch. Oh, also Red Riot was also with the group too.
Yep, Red Riot.
Who thinks of himself as Bakudo's best friend.
Yep.
Even though that he's known Deku, he's like Deku's childhood friend. But you ever notice though that Deku calls him Kachin, and yet he never tells him to stop calling him that, despite the fact he doesn't really like each other very much.
Yeah.
He never actually told him to stop doing that. And he's like one of 2 people call him Kachin. The other is the guy whose power is electricity.
Yeah. I forget his name, but I know after he's on this.
Yeah, and for some reason it's partially implied he might have a thing for Earjack.
That makes sense. They're probably kind of similar, sort of, kind of.
Yeah, Yeah, her power is that she can plug her earbuds into anything. The ones attached.
Yeah.
I mean, you think of earbuds, you think of something like things for your ear. Nope, her earbuds are basically her earlobes.
Yep. And she had the offensive weapon, sound waves.
Yeah, and she's also a musician as well.
Mm-hmm. Which I should have
We'll
seen
see more
for.
of that in the next season of the show, which we'll get to that soon.
Yeah, we'll get to that soon. But okay. I can say about go all for one mitigated psychological warfare against its own legs. And man, when she hit the button, she hit the button hard. It's actually sad. And we have to find out at the huge revelation in the short that Thomas Shigaraki is actually the nephew of the previous owner of
He is her grandson.
her grandson, which
Yeah,
what
because apparently he put her own son through basically put her through foster care, just so that what they stated is that he wouldn't get so that basically he got a normal life without her.
which
And
that backfired.
Yeah.
Because all for one found him, and like all my car for Deku, all for one is for Toma Shigaraki, and it's kind of similar, kind of like I'm thinking like a Star Wars a bit, right? Because all my videos kind of Obi-Wan kind of, all no shit, oh no, I got that backwards, my bad. All my video games kind of Obi-Wan, and all for one is kind of like basic in general character, the Emperor. If you look for that perspective.
Yeah. Also, All Might does, he points his finger at the camera.
I said United States, it's like that's back into it.
This happens like right after he beats All for One. He points the camera, and believe it or not, this pointing becomes a plot thread for the first episode of season 4. They actually have reports to follow up. What do you mean by the pointing? I'm like, really? You spent a whole full episode on that? Okay, we'll discuss that when we discuss season 4. Because
I think
that's a full episode, believe it or not.
It is, but you know what? It's for a recap. People are not caught up after we've seen 4. And I actually like that episode. That's adorable. But
yeah, it seems like a very dumb thing to follow up with, like that one thing. Instead of doing what this season, they had a full episode of the movie. Like, this season, they spent the one filler episode following up with something that people may have forgotten about.
Mm-hmm. Which we'll get to see in 4 later, but back on track. Like, as I said, this fight was epic and badass. It was a great fight, and that revelation in my room was a mind-blowing I see coming. But after all my fight all for one, it was a huge, not bloody, not gory, but it was a very epic fight. And all my one last smash. That's because from my back anyway. But
yes. And
it's awesome.
After the fight was over with, All Might went up with Deku on the beach. Probably the same thing he did at the start of the series. And instead of basically like hugging it out, All Might punches him in the face. Which, yeah. Now, that's a Japanese thing. They would do stuff like that because that's their culture. Here, we'll probably yell at them, but we won't get into like a major fight or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just the Japanese culture. I'm not going to criticize the show for basically building up the culture. So I'm going to leave it alone. And he gets the reason why he did that because he was upset with him because he saw him when he rescued Bakugo.
Mm-hmm.
It was like he said he could have been killed, which he could have.
Yeah, he could have.
He didn't engage any of the villains. All he did was rescue Bakugo. That was it. There was nothing that said he couldn't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Then, like, right after this, that's when they have dorms. That's when they have, like, okay, let's just meet with all the parents and show off dorms. Now, they don't show Froggy family here. They show off in the second OVA, where they show off her family, where they're like her. They all got frog powers. and she's the one taking care of her younger siblings. So I'm thinking about this like, okay, so if she's living in the dorms, who's taking care of her kid siblings?
I seen the parents maybe.
The parents are workaholics. They work very late, so she's the one who has. So that's a question I think a lot of people probably would ask, unless of course the UA provides some special support when it comes to that. They show Bakudo's mom, like, oh my gosh, this woman is 38 years old. She is smoking hot.
She is.
and if you notice him, she looks exactly like Bakudo.
Yeah, it sure is. And Bakudo's mom and Bakudo, they kind of like the same at the personality.
Yeah, and apparently Bakudo's father is a wuss.
Yep.
And they do explain how these two met. That apparently she forced him into a relationship, and she forced him to marry her because he's older than he is.
Nice.
And the thing is, he loves his wife and son, but he's also afraid of his wife and son too.
But I don't blame him.
You married a smoking hot woman, and you have a son who is very similar to she is. Okay. And even though it's though that Deku's mom looked almost exactly alike too.
Yeah.
They never actually shown Otaku's parents.
Actually, they did show Otaku's parents in season 2.
Yeah, I don't remember if because they showed that Bakudo and Deku look like their mothers. Otaku, I'm not sure if she looks like her father or her mother. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they did show, and I honestly don't look like them for some reason. I don't. It's next.
She looks, from looking at her, and I show her parents. And I show her flashback later. She kind of looks a bit like her mother and a little like her father.
Yep.
Now, I'm not sure where she get the earjack quirk from.
Maybe it's weird as a mutation.
Yeah, though it's a weird thing to have in the series. Tail, they don't show his parents at all. It's like, just.
That's what got shot hand out of.
Yeah. There's also the one character, I remember his name, the one who wears a mask, even in class. Who also apparently he's got like a chance with his arms, like he also sort of fly as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like the show's Kakashi in a way.
Yeah.
I don't remember the character's name, but he occasionally shows up in the series, and Deku gets along fine with it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, I like the fact a lot of the important members of UA, where all their parents are shown, mostly anyways.
Mostly because we didn't get to see all our students because when I think that's the only point we didn't get to see Dark Side. We didn't get to see
Mentos food.
Yeah.
Though I wouldn't be surprised if his father's a pervert like he is, but they never show his family, surprisingly, or where he gets his perverts from.
Yeah.
And he's 12. Why the heck is a 12-year-old pervert? Yeah.
Manad wanted to. We still don't know about parents.
Yeah.
Is that the same thing?
Though, in the case of Deku, everyone else had no problem moving in dorms. Deku's mom took some convincing, but thanks to Deku reading his mom the letter that the kid showed him, that wrote him, and the fact that all I would personally take care of him, she agreed. She was the only one who actually was against it, but she relented and allowed him to become part of it. And then they show up the dormitories. They do explore a little bit of this in the third light novel, where after they all moved in, after the whole thing with what happened with Frappa, which we'll get to in a minute, they show that Shuda was helping out, what was her name? The one who's got pink hair and only Deku's gloves.
Yeah. I think she went. I forget her name, but she had to zoom in and do other stuff, and she didn't invent it.
Apparently, Shudo finds one of her babies and returns to her And they kind of explored the very next day after they moved in, not the same night. Like it kind of picks up. It kind of you could say this book takes place between the end of the final episode, like right after they moved in, and the start of the whole stuff with the hero licensing stuff.
Yeah, with season 3, part 2.
Yeah. Now, when they all move in, they actually have everyone who helped out Bakudo. Otaku want to talk to all of them after they show up. They have this great thing. They show up all the rooms, like in the case of all of them, like Deku. Not surprising, his room looks the way he does, where it's like all mud stuff.
Sleeping at the time. So, I actually before we get that, we're gonna go to the dormitory. USA actually talked to our students about the incident with Fargo and terrorists, but after they USA did the speech, which is right down it, like Fargo actually pretty much a guy. He said, pretty much shocking. It's OAS. Look at it rapidly.
Yeah.
But that's hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the other rooms. Otaku's look very normal for a room. Men didn't show because it's probably a lot of stuff related to him and his perviness.
Yeah, that's my best guess.
Like, no, we'll just pass on you. Like they show Shudo's room where it looks like traditional Japanese. Momo's room's got a giant bed in it, which I'm like, how the heck did she fit that in there?
That's my question.
I'm like, okay. Like everybody's rooms look so good, and apparently the one person's room who won is the one who eats a lot of sugar.
Yep, with the cake.
Yeah, his room basically won out of all of them. And then they later revealed the reason why they did that because what happened with the whole hideout raid and the fact that Frappe was the most upset about how they kind of look like they grew apart, but they all pretty much apologized. And from looking, if I remember from it, it seems that Deku was the first person to hug her.
I think so.
Which I had no problem with that at all because of how close their friendship is. So it's perfectly. Eventually, I think the other person to hug her was Bach. I think I know that Deku hugged her, Red Riot hugged her, and Genium didn't, but I think Momo did.
Yeah, I think all of them did. They hugged her, and I did, if I remember really well.
Yeah, but it was a sad ending to the episode, but it was probably something that was expected because of how everybody's emotions were running high to the whole raid happening. So it was understandable why this had to happen.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of after the room, I completely forgot to enjoy the dorm stuff. We actually did get to see some of the female the girls' room as well. We see basically Ochaka's room. See basically
you see, like everybody's room except Mentis.
Well, except and for Bago, he didn't participate. He just went to bed and slept. Oh
yeah. Also, we didn't show Frappe's room.
Yeah, we didn't get to see that later.
Which I'm like, still to this day, they never show what her room looks like.
Huh. Maybe I have to go like a pond, basically. I don't know.
And as for Deku's room, his room showed up several times season 4. And there's we'll get to what happens to one of the characters who tries to become close friends with him.
Yep.
And then not long after this, for some strange reason, they decided to do this kind of interestingly. There's a fight that happens between Deku and Bakudo that happens in the manga before they have the stuff with Thrice. Thrice, the stuff with him that happened before this fight, they kind of did this out of order. When they jump straight to the Deku versus Bakudo fight.
Yeah, which we'll get to that. That's part of the writing exam stuff.
Yeah, but that's something that the episode does lead into, and it is something of how it happens, and it has a hilarious resolution to it, which even you probably think is so funny.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. I think after the stuff with Frappe,
I think we go on to the USAJ register exam.
Yeah, which this takes up pretty much the rest of season four, not four,
Season
three, with the
three.
exception of the last I think the last two episodes. We'll give them like two or three. It's takes up episodes 51 to 61
Mm-hmm.
and chapters 98 to 121. Pretty lengthy arc in the manga. In the anime, it's like 11 episodes. In the anime, in the manga, it's like, let's see, I think that's about 23 chapters. Actually, 20. It is 24 chapters in the manga.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And before they have the exam, the license exam, that's when they have the Bako Deku fight. Which the episode
actually no wait. That takes place after the license exam.
Yeah. And they
With
have the license exam. This is pure fun of a thing to show off. It has a similar feeling to it to the sports festival.
Mm-hmm.
And this has like everybody like they all the schools participate, and like apparently UA class 1 is the prime target because, well, the sports fest everybody's gunning for them, so they all split. Yeah, and of course they bring it to groups like Mobile's group is comprised of her, Froppy, Earjack, and I think it's the big bulky guy. I don't remember his name. He's in the group too. And Shudo, I think, is off with Shudo is up on his own.
Yeah.
Red Riot's off with Bakudo. Deku's got Otaku and the guy who can shoot tape out of his elbow.
Yeah.
I think that's it for his group, right? Oh yeah, there's also the guy with the French accent who can shoot a laser out of his belly button.
Yep.
Which this is the period of time where, like, okay, let's have Deku save Otaku, and it turns out this is not Otaku.
No, that's the Toga.
Yeah, this guy's his Cammy, which, Tivy, if you're curious though, like, why it looks like she's like a bit covered up.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Believe it or not, Tivy, she's completely naked.
What?
Yeah, she's naked. So the enemy decided to censor her by putting her in this white jumpsuit. Which, okay, I get the reason why they did, because this is a teenage girl, and this show on nationwide television.
Yeah.
And they probably didn't show teenage nudity like this, unless, of course, it's an erotic series. Which, my is not erotic, so you don't need to show nudity. Especially for a girl who's probably about 16.
16 or 17 during 18, she's a psychopath.
Yeah, and then they show, like, oh, here comes Otaku, and she feels that, oh yeah, Deku trusts you a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, but of course, prior to this whole thing, the laser guy asked Otaku an interesting question that kind of gets shown here, but they kind of table it here. Like, she asked her, like, do you like Deku?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which I thought was okay. That was something that kind of came out of the blue, and it kind of showed that, yeah, she does have a thing for Deku because she watches him constantly.
Yep.
Though they kind of put it on hold here, like she kind of buries her feelings in this arc, but she still has them. Like, they don't reemerge until joint training, which is going to be shown in season 5.
Yeah, which we'll get to that later. Well, actually, that's true. We didn't. Actually,
yeah,
it's up yet because we celebrated season 4 and overhaul our stuff, but we'll get that later. But back on track.
Yeah, and then like they have pretty much, and they have like the first round is simply put just
a free fall.
Some people. Actually, first I think it's I think the first round is an exam, right? Like a written exam.
The first round, is more free fall. It's basically
free fall, and then it's rescue. Then it's human attack, which is led by Gang Orca, the same guy who Froppy interned with. Divya, where did you go? Okay, this is kind of weird. You probably had to use the bathroom.
No, I'm at the something.
Okay. So, okay, the third round was the villain attack, where it's led by Gang Orca,
Yep.
and the same guy who Froppy basically did a internship with in the previous season.
Way out again, okay. I seen that the different character that the seal character.
Yeah, it was Gang Orca, and we sort of have Bakudo and a guy who kind of is a fan of Endeavor, who dressed like in a uniform, and he has a thing for he tends to hurt himself a lot on either on accident, like he bangs against the ground and then his head starts bleeding.
Yeah.
Like,
He at the library with Todoroki.
yeah, yeah,
Because
and that really cost him and Todoroki their license, because then we have them kind of beat Gang Orca, and then Deku comes and basically kicks Gang Orca's gauntlet, basically nearly breaking the damn thing.
I
That's
said,
how hard it
what
basically
are you doing? Yep.
Which, yeah, even and Gang Orc kind of knowing himself, man, this kid is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think that Deku, and this is my favorite matter, I think Deku earned the respect of Gang Orca. Because as soon as he saw him, he's the first person to identify who he is. Because it's Deku. He's an expert superhero. So of course he would know who it is. And plus he knew who Miss Joke was. Well, is. Like as soon as they're like, oh, you're Miss Joke, and she was like so happy the fact that he knew who she is. Because I think for other characters, we're like, who are you? But having Deku the one pointed out make perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. Be back.
And she had this recurring thing where she kept trying to ask Eraserhead on a date. Okay. This is something.
You may continue.
What was that about, Tibia?
My dogs.
Okay. Yeah. I was saying that with this little nudge, I think that Gang Orca, well, not that one. It was Miss Joke, where she basically was so happy that somebody knew who she is, because from what I can tell, she's not that big of a superhero. Like Wade Deku explains her, is that some people kind of know about her, but she's not as big as like All Might or Endeavor. And she just probably felt so happy that, yay, you got my name, you got who I am. And it wasn't like a case with Eraserhead, which Deku had no idea who he was until he saw his goggles. Miss Joke, he knew exactly who she is as soon as she saw her. And there's a recurring joke with her that she kept frequently trying to ask Eraserhead on a date, because it's like you got a thing for him, but it's never developed. They kind of explore it a little bit later when she shows up again in the next season. But she's like, oh, he's like, go out with me. He's like, no.
No. Right.
But I would totally buy Eraserhead in relation to Miss Joke, because she's a lovely woman.
Yeah.
Go on with her, Eraserhead, and she's clearly got a thing for you.
I think no, Eraserhead not a funny person. He doesn't take jokes. Eraserhead kind of like a Batman when you think about it. Not the same actual obviously, but got the same personality.
Yeah, and in case you're wondering, like how he got his name, President Mike is the one who gave him his code.
Yeah, with Horace.
And for what, and it's shown that he has no problem with it, even though he didn't like the fact that President Mike picked the name for him. He has no problem with the name.
Yep. Right, that's it. That's it.
So have you surprised that in over an hour no one's commented on this?
I didn't notice that. I think I know why. Because well, due to Japan, that took a lot of news, so a lot of people are more playing with that in my goddamn yeah. These guys,
Okay.
But
yeah.
I
Mm-hmm. And
well, my last stream was like 2 hours and 46 minutes long. I forgot. Okay, I'll go 6 hours for that thing, but that thing was so long to the point I couldn't do it alone. That guy joined me that one, but no one joined me. Well,
Yeah.
Michael joined me, but then he had to go, so I said that screw it, just end it. Not this one, but my other one.
Yeah. And then they kind of haul off the like who gets the license and like the very next episode. Like everybody does except for Bakugo, which is not that surprising because how arrogant he is, and in fact he disrespected one of the rescuers. Shudo was kind of a surprise. His rival Cammy didn't get it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think. I think that was it, right? Just those 4 were the only people who didn't make it.
Yeah, well, Kevin and Jeremiah, I think I know why, because, well, she was, I think she was drugged, probably?
Yeah, Cammy apparently, they did show the actual one next season, but Toga, she kind of filled in for her, but they kind of, according to the records, she did take the exam, but she failed the second portion, so they allowed her to do the special course. They explored that in next season's show.
Yeah, which we'll get to that later. Yeah, but like I said, Deku passes, we know that. Bago fails. Todoroki, he failed with it. No, Shoto. Yeah, Shoto. He fails. And one guy, I forget his name.
Mm-hmm.
Who photo man. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, and then there was like before this, we should bring up when Mia showed up again, prior to the license exam. That's when Deku got his special gloves and his special boots. That the interaction was so hilarious. Like, there's never seen since the UA Sports Festival. It's like, okay, they go visit her in her workshop, and then thing explodes, sending her flying, and then she lands right on top of Deku, and Deku's like looking up, and the first thing he sees is her cleavage.
Yep. Well,
yeah, and surprisingly, Otaka was shocked about this, but she wasn't jealous of it. She was like angry at saying this because normal women basically would be very angry that their guy is looking at another woman's chest like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Jenny was with him too. And Jenny, now she got a partial upgrade to her costume. Deku got new gloves that he's still sports today, though he did have to get a new set because they broke.
Destroyed.
Yeah, he did get a new one later. Plus, he has his signature black and red shoes that he wears, and that's kind of started him basically where he's doing a lot of kicking now instead of punching. He still can punch, except he just does a lot of the kicks now because his power pretty much almost destroyed his arms. So more power in the legs, and he's got more enforced his legs. So do kicks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then after the exam, then we have the Bakudo versus Deku fight.
Yeah, we had the better in season 1.
Yep, and they fight, and then I think like a robot just like, hey, tells the racer, hey, 2 of your students are fighting. Keep breaking it up, but he doesn't get there first. Nope, all my
gosh.
Yeah, and he perfectly understands the reason why they're fighting because of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he explains to Razorhead what happened. Of course, he does. Of course, Razorhead is hilarious. They use his scarf to top of Deku and Bakudo. This is so hilarious. Like, they're like so scared. And okay, all right. So, like, he has like, who threw the first punch? And I think it was Bakudo who threw the first punch. Yeah, so it's like, okay, Bakudo, written apology and 4 days house arrest. Deku, 3 days house arrest and a written apology.
Yep.
And then they asked later, like, I think it's Deku asked Bakudo what he think was shoot style. Now in the sub, he didn't have much of a problem with it. In the dub, he thought it was crap.
Mm-hmm. With even about the fight, that fight between Deku and Bakudo, that was a very emotional fight because they were fighting China, but then Bakudo kind of went arrogant and went kind of not power crazy. He kind of had to more like ego, and when ego took a hit when he got kidnapped, that when Deku we are not they don't want to fix that you can fight and not fight, but that's it's pretty bad. It's pretty I think emotional.
And then right after this, we had the episode focused on Thrice,
Which
and we see him out of his mask for the first time in the series. Like I didn't know this was him at all until he put his mask. Like, oh, it's Thrice. And if you keep about the stitches on his head, his copies did that to him.
yeah, because well, he starts his copies sweet. Almost doing Magic, whose copies though I think kind of independent. So
yeah, he
copies.
And they got tired of it. They tried to kill him for it. So he survived, and he very rarely does his copy powers anymore. Though he did do it in the Villain's Army arc. And
he doesn't do it for himself. He just for personal reasons, obviously. But
yeah, and then we have then we have the mentions of the work studies, which apparently the class are under orders not to tell Deku and Bakuto about this. Yep. And then Deku basically gives a written apology, and then he's informed about it, like, okay. And this is when they show off Lemillion for the first time, while he's actually under house arrest. That's when they introduce Lemillion, where he gets faced to a wall or the ground. Yep. It's his quirk. Apparently he can walk through it's kind of like a phasing ability, but not really.
Kind of K-Pride, but
it's kind of strange to explain his quirk because it is so strange.
Mm-hmm.
And they show off the other members of Big Three, which the anime got black for show off Nezuko, the blue hair girl who looks a lot like Otaku. The series got flack for making her more sexualized than she is in the manga.
Fucking censored bullshit.
Yeah, for me, didn't have a problem with it at all. We got a comment.
Yep, Michael Brown.
Yeah.
Do it, adult. That'll be fun.
Yep.
Yeah, I have no comment on that.
Yeah, and Sun Eater, they don't show his power off here. They show off the next season where apparently wherever he eats, he transforms into the ability of it. So he's here to show off his quirk. Nezuko, I think she can fly.
And light powers.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, of the big three, I would say that Sun Eater's got a bit more impressive ability than the other three does.
Yeah.
And is it just me, or is he reminding you of Eraserhead?
He can do. He can remind Eraserhead, but I like Eraserhead more serious. He's more shy.
Yeah, and Lemillion is kind of like Deku, but just similar personality. Nezuko is similar to Otaku.
Yep.
But not as ditzy as she is.
Yeah.
Though she also looks she has almost the same face as Otaku.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which I'm surprised no one's proposed the fan theory if, in fact, these two are distant relatives.
I was about that well.
Though it could be because the writer of the series, like Reusing Faces, Oda does the same thing. So I'm not going to blame the artist for that because Oda does the same thing too for One Piece, where a lot of the women look exactly the same, despite the fact being completely different characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's probably just a reused character design. So he's like, okay, let's just show off their power by having him versus the entire class in the gym.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he pretty much beats. And the thing is, he actually shocks the girls when he uses his phase ability to sort of take off his clothes. And all the girls are shocked by it, like they're all embarrassed because they see a naked guy right in front of them, which any woman probably would think that, well, if they were teenagers and they see a man who's a little bit older than they are by like a year or two, and him doing that right in front of them, they probably would be basically blushing at that. Guys like, whoa, man, put your clothes back on.
Whoa, it's hilarious.
Yeah, and then he pretty much takes all the girls really easily. Deku is the only one who has a tough time with. And he even knows that Deku basically can anticipate his movements, and he kind of earns his respect in that way.
Yep. Speaking of the big three, after we recommended the 20th episode, we got to introduce to a new villain. Overhaul.
Yeah, and Erie,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
adorable little girl who is this. They say is his daughter, but not really.
not really. They do easy for that.
Her guardian, very abusive guardian, mind you. He doesn't physically abuse her. He just emotionally abuses her.
Psychologically, yeah, which we'll get to that later. But the end of the
Yeah, you know how
overhaul
people
in
get their own
this
character
season.
studies? Like, Deku gets like first they says, "Oh, Gran Torino, maybe he could do it." Like, nope, not me. Like, why don't you contact All Might's old sidekick?
That's season 4, but I don't need to get in season 3 because, like I said, near the end of season 3 after the introduction big 3, I think you want to see it again. Oh. Do you like this anime than One Punch Man?
I like them both.
I like both, but for different reasons. One Punch Man good, but I'm more about My Hero.
Yeah, but the difference between One Punch Man and My Hero is that My Hero has so much more episodes and has more manga chapters compared to One Punch Man has put out like 24 episodes, but they have a lot more chapters for their episodes than My Hero Academia does.
Which makes sense. One Punch Man more of a comedy, so that's parody, sort of, kind of.
Yeah, but Deku is nothing like Saitama, where I mean, aside from the fact he's got hair and Deku does,
Yeah.
the personality is so drastically different. Where Saitama's got barely emotion on him, while Deku's all about emotion.
Yeah. Well, the reason why about that because when I said
Yeah,
about
and of course Saitama's completely oblivious to the fact that uh, Hellish Buzzer's got a thing for him.
yep.
Well, in the case of Deku, it's kind of implied he does know about Otaku's feelings for him, but it's never really delved into.
Yeah, which again we'll say that for later. But
Right.
anyway, like I said, Indiana Scene 3, we get into the big 3, and that sets up the next of Scene 4, and but the end with into the overhaul for Scene 3. Indiana Scene 3. And now I'm alone. Hi, Momo. Awkward. Okay. Oh, by the way, let me find a mention. In season 3, we got a full episode to celebrate the movie. I think it's a very fun episode, in my opinion. And after the great episode, in my opinion, the full episode. Awkward. What up, bud?
I'm back. Yeah,
Okay.
I had to use the bathroom again.
Okay.
Yeah,
So what?
we were still talking about the.
I think
So talk about the.
they don't need the scene 3. Okay. I had said, near the scene 3, we get the big 3, and we get into the overhaul, who were hinted at the end of this season. And at the end of part 2, that see all the heroes go back to the dorms, and I think that's where season 3 ends. I don't go my memory. Yeah.
Yeah, the last thing you see is Night Eye talking to Bubba Girl about a report,
Yeah.
which does lead to the events of season 4. I should point out something, Tivia, about Overhaul. Him and Twice, they got the same voice actor.
Huh. I know it's that. Interesting.
It's him and Dobby, same voice actor.
And what Tiger Bunny, no superhero anime, that's great.
No, I've never watched it.
I never watched it either. I guess I saw one episode of it, and it looks fine. I just can't get into that much.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Yep. And when it comes to, like, are you ready to talk about the overhaul arc?
Yeah, we're getting scene 4 because
Now, they kind of put this up at the end of season 3 with the last 2 episodes. And they show, oh, yeah, to be continued in season 4, which I think you and I both agree. We're both very happy we heard that announcement.
Yep.
Of course, they did a similar thing at the end of this recent season for season 4. And we'll get to some things that season 4, like the last season, the last arc of the season, let's just say that caused some minor problems with the dub for this series. We'll discuss them with the UA Sports Fest, the UA Culture Festival arc. Now the overhaul arc, which is also called the internship arc or Shiagasai, it's on 3 different names. It's kind of weird. The manga, it covers chapters 122 to 162. This is a 41 chapter arc, and it's the longest arc of the entire series. Though the current arc might be getting there. The current arc right now is a little 30 chapters in, and might actually break the number of chapters this arc did. In the anime, it started with like the final episode of season 3 and goes straight to episode 78, which kind of leads into the 3 Mile Course arc. Mm-hmm. The overhaul arc basically has got like 2 stories with it. The first half is simply the stuff with the internship. We have Lemillion taking Deku to meet Night-Eye.
Night-Eye, who all my sidekick.
Yeah. And Froppy and Otaku go work with Gang Workup. They work with him. Actually, it's not him. It's the Dragon Hero.
Yeah.
Remember who it is? Yeah, she shows up and say, I remember her name. Do you remember her name?
No.
Yeah, because she shows up a little later. Let's see. Red Ride goes to work with Beckham, which I met his voice actor before he was announced to play Beckham.
And Beckham's awesome.
I'm looking for a post on Twitter when he was announced to play the English dub for Beckham. I'm like, I tweet out awesome. I'm like, that makes total sense for Kyle Herbert to do this because he's a legendary voice actor. So why not voice a pro hero? Makes perfect sense, right, Tevia?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think that for the amount of episodes he appears in, though, yeah, I'm sure he's gonna appear a little bit later because he does appear at the current arc as well. He's perfectly fine. He actually survived this arc. Factum is a great character, and Kyle Herbert does a really good job voicing this character. And it's like if you look at this arc, the breakout characters this arc, aside from Deku, who does a really good job of this arc, is Red Riot, who gets a ton of development in this arc.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. Otaku and Froppy get some development, not very much, but they're actually big players in this arc.
Hang on a second.
Let me think. Endeavor is actually not taking part in this arc, surprisingly. And they're simply just investigating stuff. Excuse me. Okay. It is good. I know Tibby is ready yet. I don't know what the heck he's doing. So you're wondering, like, Tibby is probably just getting something. Not sure what, though. Well, I guess you're back.
Apologies, my dog.
Yeah, I recently got this Red Riot figure.
Nice. Ooh, awesome.
Yeah, I also got I got this just recently from Walmart. because well, he's gonna have a big role in this next season. This season we're talking about.
Endeavor. Nice.
Yep. I didn't realize how big he is. I mean, look how big his feet are. His feet are big as all bites are. They're freaking huge. Now, as for the first half of the arc is simple, like the work studies that they're doing.
Michael did is Sky High. Well, kind of. Actually,
not really, because the main character is not the son of a legendary superhero like the main character Sky High is.
Yeah, that's true.
And his love interest.
I think I get the reference. I think there's more of a more school aspect to it.
Yeah, and plus also his love interest turned out to be his best friend, who he knew prior to joining the school. Unlike in My Hero, where he actually met his love interest when he started going there.
Yeah. Wait, that didn't really go word. That's why I didn't do something about it. Anyway, that's it all to go. Back on track. Okay.
So they go investigate stuff with Shia Gaisa because the big thing about this one is they're investigating a lot of drugs. There's a lot of drug investigating this arc because, well, why not? I mean, there's nothing wrong with heroes investigating drug dealers. There's a particular drug that's out there that it's a drug that kind of erases your core.
Yep.
And Shia Gaisai, aka Overhaul, I forgot Overhaul better than his real name, Shia Gaisai.
Yeah,
I have heard, and I do agree with how he's categorized. He's very similar to Todoroki.
Yeah.
Where, very well dressed guy, and plus, like Todoroki, he wears sneakers.
Yep.
Which I'm like, okay. The biggest between the two of them is that Overhaul looks like he actually puts on muscle. Shia Gaisai doesn't care to work out at all. He looks like he doesn't eat anything at all.
Yeah, Shigaraki is very skinny.
Yeah. And Overhaul wears this beak mask, and a lot of his men do too. The reason why for this because Overhaul is a germaphobe.
Yeah. And he's freaking insane because his power is very strong at the dark.
Yeah. And now the beak itself that he wears, that's actually based upon a real life mask that the doctors used to wear.
From the 1940, 1929. No, 19th century thing.
Yeah. So that's something that's based on real life stuff. So that's something real life is actually police stuff that's used for the show. And they have in the arc Deku meeting Overhaul when he runs to Eri.
To Eri, which is tragic and sad.
Yeah. And now Lemillion didn't want to start a fight with him because they didn't know if this was him or not. But it turns out, yep, this really is him.
Yeah, and Deku wanted to save her.
Because of all the bruises on her, Deku would probably like a traditional hero. He probably wanted to beat the living crap out of Overhaul for what he did to this little girl.
Yeah.
And
but Lemillion stopped them.
Yeah, but before they have this meeting with him, they have a meeting with Night Eye about Overhaul in his office. This actually was changed in the manga, where in the manga, they actually this meeting on the street. I get the reason why they changed this, and even you agree, it makes total sense that the anime did this, because why would you talk about a meeting like this in public?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, that was actually, in my opinion, it's only a minor visual change, but it does affect the story.
Mm-hmm. The story keeps going forward, even had a video change. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, so like right after they meet up with Overhaul, they explain to Night Eye what happened, and
I'm just trying to enjoy it, but before they meet Overhaul, Deku meets Night Eye and trying to make him laugh, and it fails. But Night Power is actually pretty cool. We get to know his quirk. Apparently, that he can see in the future.
Yeah, and he also Deku did something to make him laugh by doing impersonations of All Might, which he thought was offensive. But it turns out it's actually based upon a face that All Might made from a semi-obscure rescue he did about, I think it was like 5 years for advance of the series, 5 or 6 years.
5 or 6 years. Yeah.
Yeah, which Night Eye did kind of know about it, but he wasn't working with him at that point.
Yeah.
And like he wanted him to also take the stand from him, and he thought though that was a mistake for All Might to pick him as a successor because he wanted Lemillion to take over for him.
To be a successor.
Yeah, that's what he wanted. And he also set up something that they explore. The reason why they actually grew apart, because Night Eye had a prediction that All Might will die in a year.
Yeah.
Which that hasn't happened yet.
Not yet, anyway. But if that prediction does come true, well, actually, that thing may not come true after all, because which we'll get to that later.
Yep. So he tries to take a stand from him. Of course, he proceeds to jump all over his freaking office. Yep. And even Night Eye notices later that his feet doesn't touch any of the All Might posters in his office. Yep. I mean, his walls are basically covered with footprints, but the posters, completely unscathed. They're perfectly fine.
Yep.
Because he probably sees as though that Deku was a All Might fan, so even he would not touch those posters with his feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And eventually he does take him on as a employee. He said we get like a salary, which, okay, that's perfectly natural for him to do. And they didn't say how long this work study was, because in the anime, near the anime manga, actually explained how long the work study was. It was temporary. He said he basically would work special days. Now they do a little bit more of this when they do with Denver later, and he's there just to help improve his quirk, make it a little bit better. It's a similar thing he did with Endeavor later, but he said that's the reason why he wanted to work with him. And plus, he basically was All Might's only psychic he ever had.
Yeah.
It's something though he did not know who Bobo Girl was. I mean, he knew all the rest of superheroes, but apparently he had no idea who Bobo Girl was. Mm-hmm. Which, okay, I kind of get the reason why for that, because, well, Night Eye, he does know who he is, but he does not know who people he works with. Unlike Endeavor, he does.
Yeah, Endeavor didn't have a psychic, or did he? I don't know.
But he does have a psychic named Burnout, which Deku does know who she is, but not who Bubba Girl is. Probably because he didn't do enough research into him, but he did the research also into Gran Torino of why he doesn't take, he's not in the public life very much, because he's a very private person.
Yeah.
Night Eye is not like that. Like, he's very public, and he's always and is it just me? He probably knows this too, Tibia. He always dresses in a suit.
Yep.
And apparently he works out too, because they show when he shreds his shirt later, apparently he hits the gym like every day.
Yep.
And it's something, he's not as big and bulky as All Might is.
Yeah.
So they do the investigating to him. That's when they later meet with Overhaul. And after that meeting, I think it's like less than like a day later, they're doing what they refer to as a team up it's basically a team up. It's kind of like a cross jurisdiction type of thing where they're working with the Dragon Hero, Fat Gum, and Gang
Red Riot.
Yeah, Red Riot's with Fat Gum. It's a great Red Riot episode.
It was such a bad fight.
Yeah, where he takes on a drug dealer and he tells everyone who he is, and apparently gets a lot of public recognition because of this.
Yeah.
And they actually explore his backstory in this arc, which that was surprising. Of course, this is done a little bit later. His backstory is that him and Pinky used to go to the same school together.
Yep.
And it's very heavily implied that Pinky's got a thing for him.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa. I wouldn't mind it because they know each other for a long time, and I'm surprised the writer hasn't pushed this relationship at all.
Same here. It's a cute couple. It makes sense.
Yeah, and plus, though he says that the reason in story he does stuff he does, well, for one thing, to get recognition from Pinky, and because Crimson Riot was his hero.
Yep. Also, he wanted to protect people.
Yep.
So, noble goal.
Yeah, and he also saw how brave Pinky was, so he later on became a brave person. That probably inspired him to become how brave he is now.
Mm-hmm. You got the kid cute. And
Yeah,
it's sweet.
and when you first see Fat Gum, and it's not unusual because of how his name. First thing you see him doing, he's eating a tray of dumplings,
Yep.
which that's actually part of his power. He gets fat and then he unleashes it as part of his fighting.
Concussive ability blast.
Yeah,
Well, I
which
kind of like blow off with X-Men, kind of, sort of.
when he unleashed all the fat stuff, apparently according to I think it's like one character he meets later, like, oh, I'm looking for a very handsome hero. And then when she sees Fat Gum in his slim form, like, oh, you're the handsome hero I'm looking for. I'm like, okay. And they, oh yeah, that's the same guy. You're like, how can that be? It's kind of bizarre of how that woman is.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah, and then after they had the special meeting, which they discussed the meeting with Eric about how the Aryan overhaul. Also, this is the debut of what's his name? Lockup.
Lock
Rock Hard. Yeah, where he doesn't initially trust the rookies very much because of rookies.
Yeah.
And Fat Gum stands up for them because he himself was like them too. I mean, I get why he would do this, and I'm glad the fact he's written this way. Where he was, and because of what Red Riot did, so that's the reason why he probably stood up for them.
Yeah.
And everyone else does too. So they team with the police to take an overhaul and stop the supply of drugs.
So stop. Yeah.
It was mentioned by Fat Gum when he discovered the drugs. Like, I remember these type of drugs. I worked with the police to take down a group of drug dealers years ago. So makes perfect sense the fact that they because he's been a superhero for a long time. So it's not surprising he's actually worked with narcotics to take down drug dealers.
Yeah. And Shia Hazaka, the Yakuza, they went underground because when All Might came on the scene, they organization went to shit. Like,
yeah. And then they have the raid.
Yeah,
then they have the raid on the compound.
Which
they're there. The primary goal is to rescue Ari. So they have they get there and then they come across a character who's a cheap ripoff of Bane.
Oh yeah, the God muscles.
Yeah, he looks like freaking Bane, doesn't
he? Yeah, he does. Okay, they know Bane.
I would be surprised if the writer admitted that this character is based upon Bane, but anybody can tell this is Bane in My Hero Academia.
Mm-hmm. He's intelligent, smart, strong, and more of a fight.
Yeah, and he fights the dragon hero too.
Yeah.
Which I thought was so cool. And it's like, okay, we'll handle him. Everyone else go inside, and the police are there to deal with the low-level thugs, whether they don't have powers, and the heroes are people who deal with quirks, and they deal with people with no problem at all, and they kind of split up in two groups. We have like Fat Gum with some of the group, and Eraserheads too is part of this group too. Yep. He's part of this raid as well, which that's interesting. The fact he's part of the raid. Gran Torino was off part of the raid, but he's doing something else.
He's doing something else to find not all for one, but to find Whoop.
Yeah, surprisingly, Endeavor is not part of this raid.
Which is weird. I think Endeavor will be part of this, but I guess not.
Yeah, and never. It's like they never asked him.
Wait, for good reason.
Because he's probably by far, even though he's not number one superhero, he's clearly the strongest superhero they have. But I guess the dragon hero basically is strong enough for them.
Which is fine. I'm fine with that because Endeavor. Yeah, I wouldn't judge him at all. Even though he's more.
During this raid, not only they show Red Riot's backstory, they also show Sunnyer's backstory where him and Lemillion were old childhood friends.
Yep. That is adorable.
Yeah, and I think Nezuko was with them too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She is part of the way as well. She's outside with Ochaku and Floppy.
Yep. Though she was part of the backstory with Lemillion and Sun Eater, which and he asked him like, "Did you eat this stuff?" And then he shows up as his power. He basically just wipes the floor with a bunch of Yakuza in like less than a minute.
Yeah.
And everyone's like having Deku save his power to fight Overhaul, which makes perfect sense to do. And
Well,
Fat Gum and Red Riot fight some other thugs. The League of Villains are there.
yep.
Just
Well, two
Toga
of them.
and
Toga and Twice.
yeah, they don't do a lot in this arc. They do virtually almost nothing.
Yeah.
They contribute to one small thing, like a roof collapsing, but
Yeah,
that's
they
it.
fuck them all. Mhm.
Yeah, because Todoroki. Well, because the thing is, the season started off with him offering him to join the League of Villains, but he turned him down
Yeah,
because
overall, but he killed one of the villains.
yeah, he killed the transvestite. I
Yep.
think it's basically a very feminine, like very like muscular. They say it's a woman, it looks like a guy, and this character became the first and I think like only character ever killed in present day.
Well, that is super dark. The way he dies, damn, that was brutal.
Yeah, and his powers and Overhaul's power is similar to Todoroki's.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and he turns him down purely based on the fact that Todoroki has no structure and no plan to take over like the country.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, make me your leader, and I'll take care of that. And he's like, no, I'm
And
the leader.
yeah, Shigaki did not give a damn overall plan because overall is a jerk.
Yep.
But overall, it's freaking insane. Okay, Shigaki.
Yep.
They probably put you on the even though they're both nuts.
Yeah. And like it seems like almost every hero who takes part in this arc gets severely injured, except
Yeah.
for Deku. Deku is probably by far who gets the least injured
Mm-hmm.
because of Eri.
Vacuum
Because
gets
Eri apparently is sort of in a way her quirk is rewind.
yeah,
Is that
which
sure from Rewind's quirk?
yeah, which we
And
found
her
there.
quirk is the basis for the drug that Todoroki uses. That's Todoroki. Overhaul.
Oh, overall, you have drug. Oh, speaking of Aerie, Jesus Christ, that guy was scarred to have the overall. That was dark. I mean, super dark. Jesus Christ, Aerie's very
Yeah,
messed up.
she does have one blood relative. Her grandfather, who was Overhaul's boss.
Yep. Who
Which
we put
Overhaul
in
told
a
him,
bit.
yeah, apparently he disagreed with Overhaul's plan. So Overhaul was like, "I'm gonna use my power to put you in a coma,"
Yep.
which that's what he did. And he took Eri and basically he claimed Eri as his daughter, even though they're not related.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of overall, oh, what's the big fight with 1 million overall? That fight was awesome.
Yeah, it's similar. It's kind of similar to the fight between All for One and All Might. Difference was, and Nezuki pointed this out. Deku kept the collateral damage very minimal.
Yeah.
Like just to the immediate area. It wasn't like what happened with All Might. Because I think Deku basically, because how much of a strategist he is, he's probably like he's probably thinking is he probably should do that much damage. Like he does a lot of fighting in the sky.
Yeah.
When he's fighting Overhaul, it looks like he has dragon form because he merged with one of his henchmen.
One hundred. Oh, well, actually, before you get to that fight, I do want to get to 1 million. I said 1 million fight overall, whatever, but the way it ended was actually sad because he lost his ability.
Yeah, he got his quirk stripped from him.
Yeah, because of the drug.
At least erased.
Because one of the henchmen tried to use the drug against Ellie, and he protected her.
Yep.
With a smile.
And apparently she knew Lemillion's name, but she didn't know. I mean, she knew Deku, did not know his name.
Mm-hmm.
So, and because Deku protected her so well, because of how much of a good hero he is, and like he beats the living crap out of Overhaul.
Skiing for a minute.
Is your dog again, Tivia?
Apologies, my dog. You may continue.
What was your dog in the shot? Was that the reason why you had to stop and get him off the couch because he was in the shot?
No, it's not that because he's born Spike.
Oh,
Whatever.
okay.
Yeah. Marshall is basically deaf. He can't hear.
Okay.
Spike is fine. That's funny.
Okay.
Continue.
Yeah. So after Deku beats up Overhaul, though we also see that when we see that Red Riot, he gets severely he gets the worst of all the injuries of all the heroes. Because he fights a guy who is supposed to kill them, but he doesn't kill him anyways. He allows him to live.
Yeah.
And Rockload, he does get injured, but he survives. Eraserhead does get injured, but not severely.
Yeah, but Corner Stage is another Shirazaki heavy use hands.
Yeah, where he apparently takes over the whole frickin' tunnels.
Well, no, not him. Corner Stage uses basically his hair kind of like a croc. The other guy, I think the one who took out inside tunnels.
Yeah, which it took him a while to beat him.
Yeah, it did. It doesn't really actually give an advantage, surprisingly.
Mm-hmm.
For the element to the force.
Yeah, then pretty much with the conclusion of this arc, like this whole thing hit the papers, and Red Riot got most of the attention out of this whole thing. Deku got some recognition, but not a lot of it. All went to frickin' Red Riot.
Yep.
So everyone's like glad to get back to normal, and of course they also had it where the 4 students who participated in the raid had to take up makeup studies, and this also a period of time we had, figure out what during the last episode, officially kind of part of this arc, we see what Gran Torino was up to, where he goes after Warp, and then he gets encountered with a giant creature.
Yep. We actually one for all basically army.
Yeah, and this creature, Teddy, believe it or not, actually returned in the current arc. Like after this arc, he disappears for a long time until he shows up in the current arc.
Oh shit, that's not good.
Yeah, he returns for he disappears for a long time. After he takes him down, that's what leads into the remodel course. We have the characters who failed the exam. Just okay, let's have them. Like the course is simply this: you have to charm a bunch of students.
Continue.
Which I'm like, okay, that's kind of strange for them to do, but okay. And we see the real Cammy show up here. And one of the heroes observing the fight, we forgot to mention him, Sylvia. It was a guy who Bach referred to as Meat Boy.
Yep.
Who turned people into glop.
Nice. Yeah.
And they pretty much were like charming kids. And they try to charm and do various things. So, of course, Shudo tried to explain to him about superheroes because the kids thought superheroes were lame.
Yeah.
And yeah, of all of them, like Shudo, they thought he was boring. Bakudo was too loud. Cammy, they actually like Cammy's stuff.
Yep.
The other guy, I don't think they get a chance to have him speak.
Yeah, I never did get to speak. Actually, speaking actually of overhaul, I completely recommend this because I completely recommend about overhaul. Before I take the overhaul Tiger Crazy, and long story short, when overhaul attacked Night Eye, Night Eye, fuck, he gets injured. I'm super injured, like bloody.
Yeah, and then when he goes to the hospital later, he does get a chance to reconcile with All Might before he dies.
Yeah, that broke my heart, man, pieces. But what? No. That made me cry. That was sad.
Yeah, and lucky enough that when they did this death, it was like not immediately after the last death. They actually took their time with this one.
Yeah.
I think there was anything else. Oh yeah, we should not forget what happened with Overhaul right after he was captured.
After Deku would beat him basically at the with all the fancy paper bash fight, I want to fight.
Yeah, where Todoroki met with him again, and he proceeded to
His hands off.
yeah. Though it's not as graphic as it was in the manga. Manga was a lot more graphic.
Yeah, because in the anime, the Compress takes it on because he lost his arm after Overhaul destroyed Compress's arm, by the way. But Shigaraki, on the other hand, he decays the other hand and shreds it off. Literally. Yep. And now he's left with nothing.
Yes. And as far as the series is concerned, he's still alive. Overhaul is still alive, but he's in jail.
Yep, but with no arms, no molecular power, nothing.
Yep, I'm sure he probably get artificial limbs, but he won't get his power back.
Nope. And all the dreams are all turned to dust. Literally.
Yep. Yeah, and Overhaul is pretty much done with the series because since his being put into jail, he has not returned. All for one has.
This story had an ending. A dog ending makes sense.
When they show All for One, like the only person he interacts with whoever visits him is All Might.
All Might. It makes sense.
Yeah, I would think that maybe Deku might be a little curious to meet him because Deku has never met him.
Technically, he did meet him, but it was more a side view.
Yeah, but that will be interesting though. Like maybe he could basically question him about something that happened when he was in charge of the Tokyo Underworld. Like he could mention about this particular like gangster he may have known about because since he was charged with everything for years, I'm sure he probably knows a bunch of info.
And probably know about a doctor, which. Yeah, speaking of that doctor, I completely forgot to mention this. They did show it done in season 3, kind of, sort of. Apparently, there's a theory about the doctor. Apparently, the doctor is the reason why Death was quirkless. I think there's a theory. It could be going with that.
Yeah. So the doctor who was responsible for creating Nemus, some people say he looks like Dr. Robotnik from Sonic.
Oh yeah, Dr. Eggman.
Yeah, he did appear in the Hero Rising movie. That was the anime movie along with Fox, but he's not appearing in the regular anime yet. He's gonna appear later, probably later in this upcoming season.
Oh, I thought he had season 1 in the beginning of season 1 when we did see him.
This is a different doctor. Like if you see him, he looks like Dr. Robotnik. I don't remember his name.
Oh.
You have to look him up. You have to look him up basically. You have to look up on the My Hero Academia wiki site, and like you have to look him up because he's an associate of All for One.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's better for the movie.
He appears briefly in Hero Rising for a quick cameo, not like a brief like haha like I'm here. He actually has a couple lines.
Yeah, with adding the nines basically, which apparently 9 is compatible with All for One quirk, which we'll talk about later when it gets to the 2 movies because they're not talking about the 2 movies, and they actually do reference this movie in season 4, which I love the reference this movie. That made me happy.
Yeah, I think the episode we skipped over from season 3, the one they set up the movie. I think we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about the movies because that episode sets up the first movie.
Yeah. Scene 4 never saw any for the second movie. The second movie was standalone.
Yeah.
Which I'm all for that.
Yep. Though the second movie takes place much later on in the series, not just after season 4. This takes place before the very current arc of the manga.
Oh. No one I saw Hawks spitting in that movie. Because I didn't know who that was. Interesting.
Yep. I mean, when we get to like the remodel course, it's brief. It's only like just 3 episodes, and
they were fun. I think they were 3 fun episodes in my opinion.
Yeah, this is an arc that when I heard initially the season was going to cover internship, basically overhaul. And you had close, but I knew these two arcs were adapted. Remodel. I had a theory that they were going to skip over this arc because it's not really that big of an arc to deal with, but they did anyways.
Yep. And with the Q adorable.
Yeah, and doing it in 3 episodes was fine because the arc itself was only just 6 chapters.
Yeah. Which I'm fine with. It's 3 episodes of the full story, but it was fine. Okay, but what's the big thing with Taro? The second part of the season after overall, we had the new 2 villains, kind of.
Yeah, it's
Gentle
Criminal and his assistant who is in love with him.
Yep.
Yes. I should discuss before we discuss this arc. This is the arc that Funimation had to have delayed because of the pandemic.
Yeah, because that pissed me off again. What? Oh, come on. That made me mad because, come on. We did all some fun. It was better.
Yeah, they did this like 4 episodes in. Like, after the first 4 episodes, that's when the delays started happening. I'm like, why?
Why?
But they had to move everybody to a remote location and do the recording from home. And, like, every episode took like a couple weeks to come out, though they had the last 2 come out the same day because they're on the same arc. But
yeah.
Man, this arc took longer than they actually did in freaking Japan. Like, also I should point out though, this season started in October compared to the first 3 seasons. It started in April.
That did no sense. Huh.
Yeah, I have heard the reason why for that. Because Attack on Titan was coming out at the same time, and the studio did not want to interfere with that. So
with that,
even though by the time
it's huge.
Yeah, so they didn't want to interfere with that, so they decided to move it to October just to avoid low ratings because how big Attack on Titan season 3 was.
Yeah,
because they were adapting 2 arcs people were so looking forward to seeing. So that had a little more buzz because of all the buzz surrounding it. That's part of the reason why they moved it. And plus, because last year, I don't think there was a lot of really big series airing in late last year for anime besides this one.
Besides Attack on Titan, I think that's about right because JoJo, I think that finished. I don't remember.
It did. There was one series that did start this period of time, Fire Force, but it was airing different dates, so it didn't interfere with it.
Yeah, Fire Force was so David Tsunami. I still have not seen that series. I watched the first episode.
It's good. The dub is of the same studio who does the series.
That's good. I'll probably check that out.
Yeah. Colin Clifford is in the series. She voices one of the squad captains.
Nice.
And her character is in love with the main character.
Well.
Yeah, and when you hear his voice, you're probably thinking, "Is that Todd Hepburn?" When you hear his voice, no, it's different. It's different voice acting. Derek Snow.
Interesting.
But Eric Vale's in the series. He voiced the character named Arthur.
Huh. Well, you know.
Yeah, he first all the women in the group as princesses because he's got a king complex.
Oh.
Yeah, and also the main character. There's one character when he interacts with her, weird stuff tends to happen when he's around her. Like when they first met, apparently because he's trying to get to somebody, he ends up like groping her first on her chest and her butt. Just by sheer accident, and that was in weird ways. And like, how does this happen? Because her powers like good luck powers, but apparently they don't work on him. So it's like the opposite effect on him, where it's like they have in strange positions in a way.
Right.
But it's some for comedy.
That makes sense. We could depend on comedies.
Yeah, and last year was also they also had Demon Slayer airing last year. You watched Demon Slayer?
Fire Force, Attack on Titan, with that ended. Well, kind of. I think we're already seeing 4. Maybe not this year. Maybe next year due to the pandemic.
Yeah, I heard something was supposed to air sometime next month, but that's just a rumor. But when they ended the first half of season 3, I believe it was just prior. I think they ended the season just prior to the start of this season.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for the dub for that one. I'm still waiting for the dub for Attack on Titan. I think season 4, I think it was. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was 3. That's basically what it was.
Yeah,
And
three ended when they got to the wall, when they got to the beach finally.
yeah, when they finally got beyond the wall and got to the ocean.
Yeah, with
And
that
the
ended,
next season is going to be the final season of the show for good reason, because the manga's ended.
and the manga ending I heard was stupid. I do know this, and this sounds stupid to me. Apparently, it's our dream. Is it bullshit? What? That makes no sense. How the hell can that be our dream? Like, it's one of those stupid endings.
My Hero, not My Hero. Attack on Titan has not officially ended yet. They still have a few more chapters to come out.
No, I'm talking about the manga of Attack on Titan.
The manga has not ended yet. There's still a few more chapters to come out for that. I haven't read that part yet.
Oh,
the most recent one I read was the most recent that came out, and it had nothing to do with what you're talking about. That sounds like the ending of Lost.
Yeah, I think I heard of someone. I forget, but
you're probably also thinking of the ending of Promised Neverland, because that ended recently. It had a very disappointing ending. I heard. I never read the manga, but I heard the series was really good.
Yeah, Wonder Endings. Damn it, that sucks. I'm not one point Neverland, so I have no comment on that one. So
but Demon Slayer is a great series, and I think the dub is almost done for that series.
Yeah, I'll probably catch that one eventually. But anyway, back on track. Okay, we might get the scene for. Okay, like I say,
the Coastal Festival, which took up chapters 116 to 183. It's just 16 it's like 15 chapters, which not surprising. It took up 6 episodes.
Yeah. Okay.
Which
sorry.
The festival itself was also a return of Eri right after the events, the internship arc. She, of course, wears a completely different attire. She looks so adorable in that outfit.
So Eri took care of her.
Yeah, and then of course Lemillion decided to be an idiot. It's like show off his rear end. It's like, oh, here's a peach.
Yep.
And I think that peach is her favorite fruit. No, her favorite fruit is apples.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Now they actually they have it where Deku is going to get stuff. He wanted to get more rope for something that related to their stuff they're doing during the Coastal Festival, and he's getting also stuff to make a candy apple because apparently none of the stalls at this festival are selling candy apples.
Yep. Oops.
So he wanted to get that. Gentle Criminal. Wow, he is a really brilliant character, and I've heard this guy is this series take on the Mad Hatter.
Yeah, he got it. Well, he got the Mad Hatter to the Mad Hatter more psycho, more kill crazy.
Yeah. Also, apparently I don't think they refer to as this in the show. Apparently, he records his robberies, uploads them to YouTube.
Yep. They actually did mention that in the show. They did show that.
Yeah, but I don't think they call it YouTube.
No, I think they call it something else, but I don't remember.
But technically, if you look at it, it's pretty much YouTube.
Yeah, it's YouTube, but for Japan. Or for this series.
Yeah, and assistant, like, if you look at her, she looks like a little girl, but she's actually 21.
She's 21? Huh. I just younger.
Yeah, and you want how Jill the Criminal is?
30.
32, and yet he looks like an old man.
Wow. That's a weird couple.
Yeah. Apparently, it's explained in the backstory that she apparently is a big fan of his, watching his videos. Apparently, she decided to hack his account to justify where his address is.
Yep.
And he apparently started like his own tea line, which interesting side business, despite the fact he's just committing crime just for the fun of it.
Yep.
And it turns out he actually tried out to be an actual hero.
Which failed miserably.
Because he actually was trying to say something. Apparently, it turned out wrong because the person died, and he was later charged with interfering with the duty of a superhero, which, how the heck is that a freaking crime?
How's that wrong? Because that doesn't make any sense. He tried to say something like, it failed, but he tried.
And the reason why he did it because the hero was late.
Yeah. So I don't get that charge.
Yeah. Last time I checked, like, trying to do the hero's job while he's on his way is not a crime.
Yeah,
He
I
was
don't.
doing his civic duty. I mean, there's nothing wrong with him going to rescue that. I think it was like a little girl he was going to save.
No, one little girl, it was a worker.
Yeah, it was a worker. There's nothing wrong with him actually trying,
Yeah,
but the hero was late. So he seriously did try. He should not. What happened with him should not have happened.
yeah. Whereas,
But it
whereas
did
that
because
was
that
style,
he was banned from attending a superhero school.
yeah, he was banned, and then that went it down with Spiral. His parents were really distant from him, and well, his life went to shit.
Yeah, then he started his own part-time job, and apparently he ran to like some old friend of his, who
With
apparently
no
had
name.
no idea who he was.
Yep. Whereas 50 Cent is all the way popped down to villainy, basically.
Yeah, and the festival, like apparently they wanted the group wanted to put on a rock concert where they have
Wait,
backup dancers
yep,
and Deku being the ball. Though they told him he was doing this after he talked to Ari about him being a backup dancer.
yep. Well, you had to eat it all. I don't know, it wasn't him the ball. You had to eat the guy with the navel leader.
Yeah, and Class 1B had a show too,
Kind
where
of
it was like
he's with Star Wars, he's with
yeah, it was like a parody of like a whole bunch of pop culture stuff. Which,
yeah.
if you notice, they didn't show the play in the anime.
No, they didn't.
Well, if you wonder where they showed it in the recent light novel they came out with. They showed in there the entire play, which I would
Nice.
have thought that they were showing stuff they kind of missed out in the anime, like more stuff with Deku, Lemillion, and Eri, but it was actually not that much.
Yeah. Eh.
And of course, Menta basically was a funny thing with him. It's like they wanted the group to hurry up with the show because he didn't want to miss the fashion show.
Yeah, with toys.
Which when they're showing like around, apparently Neju was actually a contestant in that, even though I think she actually won that.
I think she won that. Don't remember. But speaking of school, by the way, I actually recommend this. They actually we skipped over the fight between Deku and General Kono, and that fight was so awesome. I mean, damn. But it wasn't a bloody or brutal at all. But you said General Kono might be at least playing, but that guy at the almost perfect, and it almost worked, but in a way it failed. Because, well, in a way, not his own ego, but Deku had to try to do everything in power to stop him, because if he goes to school, that shows him the festival, and that's bad. Because it ruined every dream, and I would Deku's 100% because it's wrong for Deku to do that. Even though Deku did not want to kill people, he's still, how can I say, as an ego, and still, I think, very insane. Not insane, but brought to his dream. What's his dream? I don't know what Jennifer's dream was, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
But what Jennifer had the dream? I forget.
Yeah. I know part of the concert, Earjack wanted to ask Deku about how his note taking is like, because he asked him, like, you want to know about superheroes? Like, no, I want to know about your note taking thing, like all your stuff in your book. And he showed her. And that's what helped her basically help plan the concert really well.
Yeah. With that concert, was such an amazing show. I mean, amazing. It was amazing. This was the best songs I've ever seen after I heard in my life. And after you a rock concert, it's so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was done really well.
Mm-hmm.
And like All Might was there at this concert, but if you notice, like he didn't do much or anything. He's there like in the back. He's there basically like in the audience, but he's not doing anything. He does help. Like before the concert happens, Deku's out getting stuff, and just by sheer coincidence, he runs a gentle criminal on the street, and he overhears his plan to break into the school for pure funsies. And the thing is, the police were actually against this festival happening because all the crazy stuff live on with the security.
Yeah.
But as long as nothing happened, everything could be perfectly fine. And he really wanted to stop him because he wanted to ruin the smile of Eri. Well,
Yep.
Spider's smile. His words was, I didn't want to basically take away the smile of a little girl.
Yep.
So he ends up fighting him. And
The fight.
LeBron notes during the fight that Deku is a lot like General Criminal.
They're all kind of similar things. Right? They both have dreams. They both want to achieve their goals. Because General Criminal went kind of not insane, but his dreams went down a little fast, and she
Yeah, and when they show General Criminal's power, it's like apparently his ability is alter the area of the air and kind of make it basically jump up in the air in a way of hopping on the air itself.
Yep.
LeBron's ability is like, yeah, LeBron's ability is like, oh, basically her power is that it's basically a power boost for anybody she loves, basically General Criminal.
Yep. And that probably I think would beat Deku, kind of.
Yep. Yeah, and then Deku kind of beats them, and then of course then we have Guardhound show up to arrest them. It's like, I'm turning myself in, and in the manga he said, I surrender.
Yep.
And he's like, what are you turning yourself in for? He's like, I was planning to break into school.
And he actually wonder what LeBron would sentence.
Yeah, and LeBron, nothing really much happened to her. They don't mention what happened, but they do mention what happened with the criminal, that he might be able to go to, if he go to like basically if he does some time, he could go to superhero school.
So he may do a demon, so he become a hero. And for LeBron, actually, I don't know what her does because we never answered.
Yeah, because the thing is, in the manga, she disappeared. She has not been seen since its arc concluded. And then they have the concert, and then it's also built at the end of the arc that Eri will be staying in the dorm.
Yep,
that's
adorable.
Which I thought was so great. And it seems like Eri looks up to like Deku like a big brother.
Yeah.
And she looks up to Otaku and Froppy as sisters.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense.
I like the fact she's close with them because they were the ones who rescued her.
Yeah.
I'm sure she would be fine with everybody else. I'm sure she probably, I don't know what her reaction would be to Bakuto. But I think the one person who would probably just spoil her probably be Momo.
Yeah.
And apparently Momo is taking up, apparently Momo is the class cook.
Yep.
In a way, she cooks all their meals for them.
Mm-hmm. But that's sweet. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of get the reason why, because she's living with a dormitory buddy, even though she's rich. So I guess she must have took some cooking classes, or she probably learned cooking skills from the family chef.
Yep.
So they have that, and now they show in the light novel what teachers were up to afterwards. They had an after party in teachers' lounge. They all got drunk, with the exception of Eraserhead and All Might. Yeah.
Yes.
So right after this, we had like because the last two episodes aired in one day for a dub. The Pro Hero arc basically where it dubbed most of this arc, except for the last few chapters. It's the arc focused on
Endeavor.
Yep. Where the first thing they do is the ratings board, where Mount Lady is rated number 23, though she's a rookie.
Yep.
And like Hawk is number 2, which he basically talks big, and I like his speech. His speech is very on the nose. And number 3, they say, is still best genius, even though he's still missing. And then number 1, because of course, I think anybody, all readers and viewers can easily tell who number 1 was. Like, oh yeah, it's Endeavor. Everybody knew that. It was no surprise at all that he was become the number 1 superhero.
But he didn't want to be like just like that. He wanted to be All Might, but
becoming number 1. At least making him number 1 makes sense.
Yeah.
Because one thing, out of all the heroes, he's probably had the most experience out of a lot of the heroes.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't have good personality like All Might does.
Or good at the ego because his temper is well. I can say this. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and from
Look
what I
at
can
nuts.
tell, he became a superhero just become rich.
Yeah. It's more pride.
Yeah, and his power is extremely weak.
It's more fire.
Yeah, this is according to Shudo. He says that the Hellfire power is very weak, and his mother's power is actually stronger.
Yeah.
And I think it would be so nice if they have a future chapter for this, or at least have an episode have this happen, where Shudo's mom meets Momo.
That had to be adorable. Wait. I
Yeah,
don't
that
know.
would be an absolute great moment that she meets a woman who actually has a possible interest in her son, the way that, well, not exactly the same way that her husband developed an interest in her. I mean, the only reason why she married her husband was so he can get her quark. That's the
Yeah,
only
more
reason why.
forced marriage. And it's kind of messed up and dark.
Yeah, and as far as the series is concerned, she and Endeavor are still legally married, despite the fact they're separated.
Yeah.
I don't like basically Endeavor has no interest in divorcing her at all, and she's not mentally competent to basically go through a divorce.
And
So
and and but you know, she still actually kind of loves him, sort of. Right, that kind of, and that's what I got to. And Devil don't still give her the flowers.
yeah, well, even though he doesn't talk to her, but he did give her like what is it, about 4 kids.
Yeah, 4 kids because we finally see showed over the other kid, other like brother and sister. We see
He
one
has
girl.
basically 2 brothers and 1 sister. Who I should point out to you in the Endeavor arc, she does meet Deku, and she gets along great with Deku.
Aw, that's sweet.
Yeah, but the thing is, Deku is not the thing is. I think his Shudo's sister is older than he is because I think he's the youngest of all the kids.
That makes sense because by the age and when we see at the shadow,
Yeah,
um,
and her hair. You ever notice her hair is kind of like their hair is so strange. Like hers is like mostly white with a little bit of red,
yeah,
and her brother is kind of like everyone's hair is like so different. Shudo is the only one who actually looks like half white, half red.
yeah, half red, like mix of both colors.
Yeah, with the red comes from Endeavor, the white comes from his mother.
His mother, yeah.
Which I think it was this arc that actually was the first time they actually heard her speak, and it was also the first time we heard Shido's mother's name.
Yeah.
Which, okay, that's perfectly fine. I have no problem with that. And basically, Endeavor is asked by Hawks to investigate Nemu in his hometown.
Yeah.
And they go to a restaurant, which I should point out the restaurant actually looks a little different than it does in the manga. In the manga, they sit on the floor in the manga. They sit on the table on the floor, like Japanese style. In the anime, they sit like regular table, which that's fine. You're in a modern, you're sitting near a skyscraper. Like if you're on the floor, you're in a private home. But if you're in a public place like that, it has to be a table and chairs.
Yeah, because that didn't work. So that's a fun change. I don't care what the change is because whatever. I can watch story. But
yeah,
oh boy, we get actually the big revolution. Nomu, what they were smarter, and got the Endeavor and Hawks.
Yep, and they end up tearing up like almost an entire building.
Yeah, they do.
And I think a lot of people may notice that this fight is very similar between All Might and All for One, but not as as much collateral damage.
Yeah,
it's like very little.
Hawk is
unlike
Endeavor goes after Nobu.
Yeah, and this is a pretty brutal fight. Mm-hmm. Hawk nearly gets killed in this fight.
Senator Endeavor.
Oh. Yeah. Though he does do the same thing All Might did when he defeated All for One. Raise his fist up in the air. Which, I get the reason why he did that, because All Might did that, so he's number one. He do that, and nobody had a problem with that because it's fine.
Yep. But Endeavor, when you talk to the show, you want to change. You want to be a better person. Which, I'm up for that, because The guy's ego has been way too damaged to the point that you need to.
Yeah.
You need
If you look up basically what he looks like when he does not have his flame up mode, you ever notice though that if you look up online, like when he's like flamed down, he's got a scar on his face. This fight with Nemu basically isn't a scar.
I want to have to die within a fight because that thing like Endeavor, they're kind of similar. They don't create power there, but they both want to prove they're better
Yeah, and this is the first Nemu to have the ability to fly
and to speak.
Yeah, and the way the thing ended is not the way the manga ended. Like the end with him being triumphant, which is a good way to end the season, but oh boy, I'm not going to reveal exactly what happens next. But one of the members of League of Villains shows up right after he defeats Nemu.
Oh, I didn't know whatever. Again, in the anime didn't show that part.
Yeah, they're probably going to save it for the start of next season.
That makes sense. Oh, speaking of that,
I
recommend for the meeting, but damn, that ending was badass, and holy shit, the crowd damage insane.
Yeah, but before the end of the episode, they had this tease for the next season where Deku's got a nightmare happening, and then he wakes up and
actually
his window has been smashed.
Yep. But who wakes up? They show all the other the presidents for one ball, and they have to show off one brother. So it's you. You're the one.
Yeah. There's one thing I forgot to mention. We forgot to talk before the festival happened. Deku kills with the laser belly hero.
Wait, what? You can't.
You know the one who shoots the laser from his belly button?
Yeah.
The guy, yeah, he becomes close with him because they say that their powers are not made for their bodies.
Oh yeah, I people go with that point.
Yeah, it's a minor, it's a small episode. It's like I think it's like the first episode of the UA Culture Festival arc.
Yeah, I think it is. I think you're with that.
Where they kind of bond over cheese that he makes.
With that doll.
And he also apparently took the time, I thought this was creepy, to spy on him from his window. I'm like, why the heck would he do this for?
Yeah, that's so creepy.
And is it just me, or is that the dormitory is kind of like a mini skyscraper?
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, and then when they have the window smash, like, whoa, that didn't happen in the manga. They show the aftermath of this. They clearly didn't show the window smashing.
Yeah.
And what happened next is, in the manga, what happened next when his classmates came to check on him right after that. But what a shock to end the season with that.
It showed that good going, which opened the door for so many questions because, one, how did the previous owner of One Fall know but actually Deku? Two, what did that vision mean? Three, what were the numbers and what were hawks? Because questions, I mean, you can answer those questions are so very cool.
Yeah, that last little bit was just to set up joint training for the next season. The thing ended with the says to be continued in season 5.
Yep.
Which I wasn't surprised about that because of how popular My Hero is. So I'm looking forward to season 5. I think I heard the rumor is supposed to come out in October. It's not definitive about that yet.
Hopefully, if we get the COVID stuff, but not gonna end. Shit, we still have that.
I think in Japan it's fine because they've handled. From what I heard, they've handled this pandemic a lot better than we have.
How is it that they get find a vaccine and we can't? Oh wait, I don't know why. Well, my idiots.
Oh, here's something quite strange, Davey. I heard this from Luke Gallows. You know how we can't have public gatherings over here now, right?
Yeah. Wait, actually, no, I don't know what that is.
You know, like big public gatherings, like a Comic-Con.
Yeah. No, okay, sorry. You continue.
Yeah. They actually had a big wrestling event in Japan. They had their big they had a big title switch, and they had 25% capacity.
What? That's a shock.
Yeah. And they actually had that.
And they know how to control the pandemic more than we do.
Yeah, apparently, according to I heard from numbers, our country is hit worse than any other country on the planet right now.
Okay, I'm not surprised about that.
Despite the fact numbers are completely accurate, but that's something we can discuss another time.
Yeah, that's
But
not talk about
it was okay to talk about the pandemic here for UA Culture Festival because that's where the delays happen with the dub, not
Yeah.
with the thing in Japan. In Japan, it was fine. Though I did hear that in the month of May, they had to suspend all anime production for a whole month.
Fuck! God damn, that means it's gonna be a long machine fight to come out, I think, in the US. It's a dub.
Yeah.
Oh.
But here's the thing. Fire Force, they started working as soon as season 1 ended. So they're up to right now in Japan, they're up to the first 6-7 episodes. Here, they've only released the first 4 episodes.
I did notice that.
Yeah, because they've already developed these things ahead of time before all this stuff happened, so it's fine.
Yeah.
And they still do this stuff in studio, but they're basically well protected.
That's good news. Good for them.
And I have seen a picture online of how One Piece their subcast, where they all have 7 booths. They're all like in the same room, but they have plexiglass separating all of them. And they're basically all like in a little cubby hole recording all their voices.
Wow. That's very secure. Very interesting.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, though, how come Funimation and Viz Media can't do this?
Yeah, why can't they do that? I don't get it.
It's better than doing remote from home.
True. But they have the equipment there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. If I heard, Kyle Herbert has got no problem with this at all. He's the only voice actor who's got no problem recording his voice from home because apparently he's got a whole thing in his closet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Emergency break glass. Yep.
Yep. But in the case of seasons 3 and 4, great seasons for the show. And the thing with the show is it doesn't produce a bad episode.
Nope. All the episodes might be all amazing. Just isn't fillers, but you know what? That's fine. And it always filler. Like,
Yep.
I like Naruto or Boruto for just a fillers. This season might be almost considered quality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
well, I don't think there's much anything else to discuss when it comes to seasons 3 and 4.
Yeah. I think we covered everything in season 4. If we missed some stuff, then
3 was season I started with. By the time I jumped on season 3, it was already airing. Like, by the time I fully caught up with the show, it was 4 episodes into the Force training arc.
Yeah. I started with season 1, the very beginning.
Yeah, I started with season 3, and after I caught up with the series, because I bench watched from the start of it up until that point so I could see all the progression, and loved the show.
Yep. Yeah, this show, I mean, one of the best shows we had in a few decades because, like, Marvel anime did jack shit. DC, DC anime, if I give Young Justice back on it, I'm gonna be happy. But Marvel.
I know we can discuss what DC is, the bullcrap they've been up to for the past couple months in the video.
Yeah, which that's not talk about together because that is a controversy and said Marvel and DC crap. Well, more than Marvel anime is bullshit these days.
Mm-hmm.
DC, on the other hand, we got fixing their problems. We can find a Young Justice finally. That's good news. Still waiting for season 4 though, which worries me. Because then they're gonna talk to DC fandom. Back to my
there's some shows I've watched where I will listen to a season for them, but it depends on the studio. One show I actually really enjoyed watching this year, Tavia, actually I watched back in May, was Another on My Smartphone, where a guy gets killed on regular Earth and then gets restored on another Earth and gets to bring a smartphone with him.
What?
Yeah. Apparently God reprogrammed his smartphone so he can operate in the other world, and it's powered by magic.
Okay, that sounds really weird. What?
Yeah, but it's a really good series to watch.
What's it called?
Another World on My Smartphone. It's on Funimation.
I'll probably check it out with eventually.
It's only 12 episodes. It only aired just 3 years ago.
Huh. Interesting.
It's based on, like My Hero, which is based on manga. This series is based upon a light novel.
Interesting.
like Oberlin. Though
Yes.
this book series has put out 20 books. The season adapts the first 3 volumes.
Nice.
But it's up to you of how you feel about the show when you finish watching all 12 episodes.
Yeah. I'll probably let you know what to do, but check that one out. Okay. What's up? Oh wait, speaking of anime, Mario, the Persona 5 anime got in front of me is buying dub. What's the problem though? You have to pay subscription to everyone to watch the dub. Which is odd, because if you want to read the Persona 5 anime in dub, why not let other people watch it for free? Besides wanting the sub version.
Yeah.
Even
I heard
though
about that.
anime got Twitch.
Did you thought it was strange that Funimation got Naruto on their streaming service?
I did. Wait, I know about that. Weird.
Yeah, and that's not the only series they put on there. They also put on there the first 75 episodes of Hunter x Hunter.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, is Viz Media trying to put all their catalog on Funimation because they don't have a regular streaming service?
That could be the case because some Vietnamese shows on Netflix as well.
Yeah.
Because Sunday Everything is on Netflix.
Yeah, so I've also heard various rumors. Like, I also heard something that apparently AT&T is trying to sell Crunchyroll.
I did hear about that.
You wonder for how much?
That worried me.
You wonder how much they're trying to sell? They're trying to sell it to Sony. They don't want to sell Funimation.
Do
you know how much they're trying to sell the site for?
$7 billion.
$1.5 billion.
What? That's chump change for them.
Yeah, that's how much they're selling it for. And apparently Sony has turned it down, but they're still trying to pursue them trying to buy it.
That's
a
stupid idea. Like, Sony,
yeah.
AT&T, you moron. Anime is big right now. Don't start it off.
AT&T clearly has no idea what they're doing. And they bought Warner Bros. A few years ago. And from what I heard, they were already in debt anyway. So my question is this. Why the heck did you buy a movie studio like WB for? There was no reason for them to buy it.
And by DC as well, with that's been one of the layoffs.
Yeah, DC is owned by Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
So that became part of the deal.
Yeah.
If I were AT&T, because they clearly don't know what they're doing with DC Comics, I'm not sure it's similar to Sony, because I'm not sure, because they're own Valiant. I don't think Disney should have DC. That DC should not be owned by Disney. I wouldn't include the Fox, but Fox movie studio doesn't exist anymore. The other studio, I can't think of anybody who would actually buy DC.
Probably no one at this point because WB, that's probably DC brand. WB owns DC, and without DC, they have nothing.
Yes.
Like,
well, we do have the Looney Tunes.
Yeah, they have the Looney Tunes, but they can
if Warner Bros. Sells DC, that means DC can't publish Looney Tunes comics or Scooby-Doo.
Or any of the other Hanna-Barbera properties.
Yeah, so if I were AT&T, I would probably just let WB go on its own and not deal with its problems.
Yeah, right. Right, it's some kind of the whole idea. Okay, DC themselves, the editorial need a change because that editor was garbage. But the deal gone, that Bob Harris is gone, some other creator gone. That's talk about it. We'll be all day talk about DC Farm because I have a lot of stuff with that train wreck. But maybe we say that for some time. We got DC Fandom not over. DC Fandom Part 1 was released in August. Part 2 comes in September.
Yeah, and of course they had the cuts in their higher up just prior to Fandom happening.
Yeah, which
I'm like, okay, if you're gonna fire people, fine. Could you do it like not right now? It's stupid to do it.
It's stupid. Like, God almighty, that's stupid. But you know what? We'll be all there. We talk about that. I know this stream is 2 hours long anyway, so we probably get final thoughts on my scene 4. Okay.
They're both good.
Yep. Final thoughts. Fun at both after seeing season 4. Great season, great to my ultimate show. I can't wait for season 5. Season 5 is gonna be epic, and like I said in the future, I cannot wait for season 5 for Ultra, and well, the future is awesome. I cannot wait to see what happens next.
Yeah,
So,
they're probably gonna finish up Pro Hero, and I have heard Joint Training is confirmed they're gonna adapt that for season 5, and they might go to the villain arc.
well, that could be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But until then, we'll see what happens.
Right.
So, should we end it or give up or tell what's going on with our channels?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Nick Lenz.
Yep. Oh, actually, forgot. Before we end in Joanty, I for me in Joanty, I'm probably gonna continue. Maybe gonna with DC. Well, DC Fandom kind of overlay technically speaking, but I'm gonna probably do some videos on my channel on DC Fandom. Some of the panels I did talk about on my stream, and again, I had to end my stream early due to, well, doing alone, not fun. I'll probably do a video on the Marston stuff because that is a very important video of Static Shock. I'll do a discussion on the Gotham Knights game announcement. Not discussing, more like video my part on that game. Probably doing another video on Suicide Squad Kill Justice League. But that's interesting. As for anything else,
it seems like a dumb idea to do. Have the Suicide Squad try to kill the Justice League.
Yeah, it's a very interesting game. It's from Rocksteady. Same people made the all the franchise.
Yep.
With that is actually interesting. One thing I'm very intrigued about that game. Apparently, it's part of the Arkhamverse, which I call bullshit on that because there's no way I can come in Arkhamverse. That makes no sense. But
they've already had a Suicide Squad in the Arkhamverse. It does exist. But they had a movie and they appeared in some comic books.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that. The problem is that came after the virtual Deadshot at black, but in the movie he's white, so it doesn't even connect at all. It just didn't even connect. I don't know. I don't know.
They've been teasing a Superman game for years,
which we didn't get.
Yeah, Suicide Squad's fine because it's something different than Batman.
Which I'm fine with that. We never from Batman, and the Gotham Knights game, it was Bat Family. So yay.
That should be interesting. I mean, there's more DC characters out there than freaking Batman.
Yeah, that's the main problem with WWE. Well, WWE, DC. I think it's probably both. Well, I'm getting sidetracked. But as for anything else on my channel, well, I probably review actually Batman and Robin Volume 2 Pearl. I'll probably review this book.
I reviewed that a while ago, Tivia. About a couple years ago, I think it was. I reviewed that.
Nice. I'll probably review that book, if I did not review my channel yet. I'll probably review, soon leave it Volume 3. I love Tomaji working with Superman. Sure that he's extension with Benny said been destroying me. Mentally. I'll try to reduce the clock. Maybe again, when I get part 1, I will review both books. So stay with that. I've been asking on my channel. Maybe some movie reviews, maybe some video game reviews if I'm lucky. Again, stay with that. Other than that, yeah, that's all I got. So, should we just end it right here?
Yep.
Oh wait, before I end, I'll take one more thing. Then I've joined for my season 1, season 4. Stay tuned. Let's get on the movies. My Academia, 2 Heroes, and the second movie, Heroes Rising. Yep. Stay tuned for that. And Nick, where can we find you? And actually, Nick, what are you doing for your channel?
Right now I'm just doing a rewatch of One Piece. I'm on the Impel Down arc, and I'm gonna do some other reviews today, like reviewing the newest episode of One Piece, along with Barto and new shit to My Hero Academia, a few other things.
Nice. After me, I already mentioned I'm doing on my channel. So see me that. Then I joined my season 4. So the next guy on the 2 manga in the movies. And another discussion on maybe more DC Phantom in September. again, I will try to watching that if I can. Because trying to watch it 8 hours is insane to me. 12 hours is just brutal. It's just no. There's no way I'm getting 25 hours.
I heard the panels were really short.
Yeah, they are short. Well, some of them are short, some of them are long, some are 30 minutes, some 5 minutes. It's kind of weird show.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm Women's Point, so I didn't enjoy it. So you guys go on the vamp stuff or something else for the 2 movies. And see you again next time. See ya.
Bye.